The little girl who got the answer she wanted immediately became excited. She jumped back a step, proudly placed her hands at her hips, looked at the two earthlings, Ling Chen and Shura, with her big eyes lit up. Oh yay! I finally reached the legendary Earth. Then you must be earthlings? Listen carefully to me, the Queen. I, the Demon Queen, am a scary demon queen from another planet. I have come to rule over the Earth. All you earthlings must obey me from now onwards, no exceptions, otherwise serious punishment will be given, got that? Shura, big brother, Ling Shura turned to Ling Chen quietly for help. This time, she also started to think this little girl must have obtained mental injuries from the meteor. It looks like she's not faking it, this is some serious problem. Ling Chen was speechless. It was such a tragedy that a girl this cute had been rendered such an idiot by the meteor, such a pity, he hoped it was just temporary. Hey you! What are you two mumbling about, didn't you hear my words? Seeing that these earthlings did not react at all to her words, let alone cower in fear, the little girl stomped her little foot, dissatisfied. Okay, Ling Chen sighed and twitched his lips, leant forward, said with smile, so, little girl, how are you going to start ruling the Earth? What little girl? The little girl was furious with the way he called her, her slim eyebrows even uplifted. I'm the great demon queen, you have to call me your demon queen Highness. Got it? Your demon queen Highness. This time, not only Shura, but Ling Chen was also just a step away from bursting out in laughter. Becoming the legendary great demon king, and ruling this world, being respected by all people as the demon king, Ling Chen remembered having this dream when he was still little. Rather, most kids all had some sort of dream like this. Could it be that a vicious meteor piece knocked the girl's head into some fantasy world? Big brother, we should ask where her house is. After the laugh that she could not hold in, Shura started worrying again. She was too kind and could not stand to see people suffer, even if it was a stranger. Ling Chen nodded, and said friendly, then, little girl, you, call me your demon queen Highness. The little girl was furious, her small teeth shone, ready to leap onto Ling Chen and bite him. Ling Chen was defeated, twitched his mouth, and called out with extreme exhaustion, then, your demon queen Highness, can you please tell us where your house is located at? The little girl who had been called your demon queen Highness was finally satisfied. She blinked with her charming eyes, her mouth lifting upwards, said with pride, looks like you are still obedient after all. You are the first people I, the demon queen, met after arriving to Earth. I, the demon queen, shall reward you to be my servants. You have to obey me, otherwise I, the demon queen, will punish you. Now, go find me a lot of food for me quickly. Rumble. Right after the little girl finished, her stomach started to groan. Shura. The little girl immediately blushed and turned as red as an apple. She stomped awkwardly. I, the demon queen, haven't eaten in days. Didn't you hear that I am hungry? And you're still here, not looking for food? Seeing the condition of the girl, Shura was even more worried. It was such a pity that a child this cute had gone nuts, her family must be very worried about her. Shura took out a chocolate from the bag, opened up the wrapper, and held it in front of the little girl. Little girl, call me your demon queen Highness, the little girl said angrily. Shura couldn't help but smile, said softly, okay, your demon queen Highness, you seem to be hungry, this is for you to eat. The little girl's round eyes stayed on the chocolate in Shura's hand, was confused for a long time, murmured, it looks weird, black, bizarre, not edible looking, but it smells so nice. The little girl took over the chocolate and took a small bite. The sweetness melted and flowed in her mouth, and the little girl's eyes brightened in no time. She simply couldn't wait to stuff the rest into her mouth, her cheeks filled as she chewed with greed. She gobbled ravenously, and her saliva ran like a waterfall from the side of her lips, wetting her collar. Her devouring of the chocolate made Ling Chen and Shura shudder. Shura had to say, "Don't rush when eating, be careful not to choke." The chocolate did not last very long. The little girl swallowed all in just a few bites, and savored the sweetness in her mouth with her eyes half closed. When she opened her glimmering eyes, there seemed to be stars twinkling in them. "So, this is the food on earth? It's too delicious, too delicious. Oh my God, it is truly really delicious. Even more delicious than what Mummy said." A river of saliva leaked out from her mouth when she talked, and she did her best to keep it all in her mouth. However, this was simply impossible. No matter how hard she tried, the saliva wouldn't stop flowing. Had she never eaten before in her whole life? This demon queen's saliva was even more terrifying than a flood. "I still wanna have, I still wanna have, I still wanna have, still wanna have, still wanna have," the little girl called out impatiently. Ling Chen trembled with fear looking at the speed of her saliva flowing. Shura quickly got out another bigger piece of chocolate, but it was snatched by the little girl out of her hands before she even had the chance to open the wrapper. The girl did not unwrap the wrapper and popped the entire chocolate into her mouth. Little girl, the wrapper was torn apart by the girl's teeth immediately. The little girl did not care about that wrapper that got into her way, but looked at Ling Chen and Shura alertly at the same time, scared her food would be taken away by them. "What do we do, big brother?" Shura asked warily. The little girl's mental injury was apparently quite severe. Shura definitely would not abandon this little girl because of her personality. Ling Chen thought for a while, then gave in. "We can only ask her where she lives now. If she's going to insist on she's from another planet, then we can only bring her to the police, and let the police help her way home then." Shura thought for a while, and agreed it was the only thing they could do. The second piece was finished quickly, and the little girl spat out the bits of the wrapper bit by bit, spraying saliva all over Ling Chen. Her gaze fell onto the shopping bag Ling Chen held in his hands. She licked her lips with her little pink tongue, her saliva dripping as she pointed to the bag. Wanna have, hand over all the food in that bag. Eating too much chocolate isn't good for your teeth," Ling Chen said smilingly as he hid the bag behind him. Seeing that the earthling did not obey her commands, and didn't give her the delicious food, the great demon queen was furious. She clawed at him, as if she wanted to rip him apart. "How could you disobey me? Hand over the yummy food quickly, otherwise I, the demon queen, will punish you." Ling Chen grinned, not changing his smile, said with patience, "Little girl, it's okay if you want to eat chocolate, but you have to answer a few questions first. Now, tell me first, where do you live?" "What little girl? Call me your demon queen Highness." The little girl's cheeks welled with anger, and she stomped her little foot hard. "You are the demon queen's servant, you have no right to question your queen. Hand over the yummy food quickly, otherwise, I, the demon queen, will be angry. I'm not giving you any if you don't answer my question, not even if you get angry." Ling Chen raised the bag over his head. This way, even if the little girl really jumped on him, she wouldn't be able to reach it. Shura covered her mouth with one hand and couldn't hold in her giggles anymore. I, the demon queen, am really angry." The little girl was so angry that she waved her hands around, and widened her eyes. "Mummy was right, the earthlings will obey only if the most scary punishment is given. I didn't want to punish you before because I, the demon queen, am very kind, but now you've made me angry." The little girl straightened herself, lifted her right hand so that her palm faced Ling Chen, then said with anger, "This is the punishment for not obeying me, the demon queen. Watch how mighty I am, transform into a little gray bunny." Shura, 1 second, 2 seconds, 3 seconds. A gush of wind swept past, then, nothing happened. The little girl's mouth was wide open, astonished. She stared at Ling Chen, who did not turn into a bunny. Why didn't you turn into a little gray bunny? Ling Chen felt that he was going to have a breakdown. Was the little girl's brain injured when she was hit by the meteor pieces? Or was she already crazy with some sort of disease before then? No, I must have made a mistake with my magic. That's why. The little girl comforted herself, then took a small step back, lifted her arm again, palm towards Ling Chen. Watch how mighty I am, transform into a little gray bunny. Another gust of wind blew past, but still, nothing happened. It would be strange if something really happened. The little girl completely froze, and panicked, not knowing what to do. Why did this happen? Ahahaha, why did my magic disappear? Disappeared, it really disappeared. What do I do? How can I rule Earth without magic? I can't, and maybe I'll have to be bullied by the Earthlings. Woo. What do I do? As she mumbled, her eyes became misty, as if tears would burst out at any second. Turn into a little pig. Turn into a cat. Turn into a kangaroo. Turn into, woo. After continuously trying so many times, Ling Chen was still standing there, completely fine. The magicless demon queen sat on the ground, crying and wailing in fear and self-pity. Without her magic, how could she conquer the earth? Maybe she would even be bullied by the Earthlings. Without her magic, no one would obey her commands, and no one would give her anything to eat. She would forever be hungry, without anywhere to sleep or shower. Every day, she would be by herself, sleeping on the cold and dirty ground. Maybe even Mummy wouldn't want her anymore. The more she thought, the more scared the little girl felt, and the louder she cried. Shura quickly went to comfort her. Little sister, don't cry. Here, have some chocolate. The little girl took the chocolate, and put it in her mouth, eating it while crying. In just a while, she finished eating it, and carried on crying. Soon, her entire face was covered with her tears. Shura didn't know how to comfort her, and looked to Ling Chen for support. In response, Ling Chen could only shrug his shoulders. After crying for a long time without being comforted, the little girl stopped crying. She looked up, with a few tears still in her eyes, while wiping snot from her nose, and said in a pitiful little voice, Can I please have another block of chocolate? After finding out that she had lost her magic, the demon queen was no longer as domineering, instead appealing to Ling Chen and Shura's pity. The little girl currently could not look any more pitiful. Her cheeks were bright red from crying, and her eyes were still teary. She continuously sniffled, as if she had suffered some sort of injustice. Ling Chen deeply sighed in his heart. Even if someone with a stone heart saw this sight, they probably wouldn't be able to resist hugging her and comforting her. Ling Shura was taken down in one hit by this tactic. She quickly took out another block of chocolate, and placed it in the little girl's hands. Look, here's another block of chocolate. Little sister, please don't cry anymore. Where is your home? Do you want us to take you home? The little girl quickly took the block of chocolate, hurriedly taking the wrapping off and stuffing it into her mouth. As she ate, she looked up, and weakly said, You have to address me as Demon Queen Highness. Rua shook her head and laughed. All right, you're Demon Queen Highness. Where is your home? Do you want us to take you home? No way. The little girl furiously shook her head. It wasn't easy for me to escape from home. I don't want to go back. I want to conquer the earth, and then take many earthlings to save my. Before conquering the earth, I don't want to go back. My goodness. Ling Chen knocked on his head, then held Shura's hand. Rua, let's go home now. After a while, there should be many people coming here. If we stay here, then we'll be questioned for a long time about this meteor. After hearing that they were going to leave, the little girl stood up with a whoosh, and grabbed onto Shura's clothes. No, you can't go. You're my servants, you can't just leave me by myself. Little sister, stop playing around and quickly go home. Ling Chen said as he patted her head. After being patted on the head by him, the little jumped far away, as if struck by lightning, her expression furious. Why you patted my head? Mummy said that before I become an adult, I can't let any man touch me, but you patted my head. Evil. I'm definitely going to punish you, alright then. Ling Chen evilly smiled, let's see you try to punish me. The little girl furiously stretched out her hand, then started crying again. You're bullying me. Bullying me? You're one of those evil humans that Mummy told me about, a super evil baddie. The super evil baddie grinned and stretched out his hands, shaking them around as he said, that's right. I'm a super evil baddie. Now that this little demon queen has fallen into my hands, ha, hee wah. Seeing Ling Chen act in such a sinister way, the little girl yelled out, and hid behind Shui Ruo like a frightened little rabbit. After losing her magic, the little demon queen seemed to have lost all of her dignity as well, being frightened so much by a puny little human. Shui Ruo giggled, and held the little girl's hand. Don't be afraid, big brother's just playing around. He's actually a very good person. He's a baddie. Perhaps it was because of the aura Shui Ruo gave off, but the little girl did not object at all to her hand being handed by Shui Ruo. She tearfully looked at Shui Ruo saying, he's a bad person, and he doesn't obey my commands. You'll definitely obey my commands, right? This demon queen promises you that once I conquer the earth, I will reward you, and give you lots and lots of yummy things to eat, alright? Shui Ruo smiled, and nodded, alright. Hearing this, the little girl cheered up, then, take me home, and give me food, and a place to sleep and wash, alright? This demon queen doesn't have any magic anymore, and is so hungry. Rumble. The little girl's stomach let out a large rumble, and her cheeks reddened. This demon queen's stomach had let out such a pitiful sound in front of the humans she was supposed to conquer. This was incredibly embarrassing. Alright, so tell me, where is your home? Where are your parents? Shui Ruo gently asked. Woo. Can I not say? Mummy said that these are all secrets, and I can't tell them to humans, especially not bad ones. The little girl spoke as she wiped away her tears and sniffled. To her, this beautiful and gentle older sister in front of her was her last hope. It's okay, I'm not a bad person, so you can tell me. Shui Ruo calmly smiled. If I tell you, will you give me lots of yummy things to eat, as well as a place to sleep and take baths? The little girl anxiously asked, forgetting to call herself this demon queen. Shui Ruo thought for a while, then nodded, As such, the little girl started to answer their question. I come from a star called the Shia star. When our star was attacked, my daddy died and Mummy sent me to Earth. She told me to conquer Earth and to become the overlord of Earth. Then, I can bring many Earthlings to save Shia star. Ling Chen, Shui Ruo, AI, this little kid's imagination is quite extraordinary. Ling Chen was completely speechless. Alright, got it. Shui Ruo was probably feeling the same way as Ling Chen. However, seeing the teary-eyed little girl, Shui Ruo could not help but feel compassionate for her. She was probably confused because of the physical and mental trauma she just went through. In this sort of situation, unless she recovered, it would be impossible to find her family. Sending her off with the police would also cause Shui Ruo to feel worried about her, so she turned to Ling Chen and asked, Big brother, can we take her home for now? She seems really hungry, and her clothes are completely dirty. Ling Chen smiled. This reminded him of that year, when he was found by Shui Ruo, and taken home with her. As such, he didn't have any reason to reject this strange girl. Alright, let's take her home for now then. As for finding her parents, leave that to me. I'll have the information by sunset. With the information-gathering skills of his subordinates, it would be incredibly easy to find the parents of a lost child. Thus, Ling Chen and Shura took this demon queen from a distant star back to their home. Another bowl. I want more. I still want more. I still want some more, ding ding clang clang clang. Ling Chen and Shura stared in awe at the little girl who was single-handedly devouring all of the food on the table. The little girl was holding a bowl that was as big as her face in front of her own face, and the chopsticks in her other hand moved at lightning speed. All that could be heard was the sound of the chopsticks ringing out against the bowl, as well as food being rapidly chewed and swallowed. In front of her, there were 3 big, empty bowls. Indeed, they were completely empty. They were cleaned out so thoroughly that it was as if they had been washed. Nothing was left. Dong! The little girl placed the big bowl on the table. Like all the other bowls, this bowl had been completely picked clean by the little girl. She licked her lips, and yelled out, "Another bowl." Clack! The chopsticks in Ling Chen's hand fell to the table. Ling Chen's gaze settled on the girl's stomach and he did not see any signs of bulging even though the girl had just eaten an unbelievable amount of food. His gaze traveled downward until he was looking under the table and yet he still had not found any trace of food waste. Ling Chen scratched his head. What was happening? Could it be that this girl's stomach was a bottomless pit? Where did all that food go? No, it's very comfy, so comfy that I want to sleep. You gave me such yummy food, and made me very full. Great rewards will be given to you when I, the Demon King, rule the earth. As for that big bad guy, Humph, this Demon Queen can consider not punishing him. Ling Chen's lips twitched and his ear suddenly moved. An extremely soft sound of glass shattering was heard. Ling Chen immediately stood up and walked to the balcony. Shura smiled lightly and watched as he walked to the balcony but did not follow. She smiled at the girl and said softly, "Little girl, you still haven't told me your name. What is your name?" The little girl puffed out her cheeks. The great Demon King that was full showed her domineering side again. "I said don't call me little girl but your Demon Queen Highness. Mummy said all of the humans on Earth should call me your Demon Queen Highness." Alright, you are the most powerful Demon Queen. But isn't your magic gone now? You are not the Demon Queen if it has disappeared, which means you can't be called your Demon Queen Highness then, Shura said with a smile. The little girl's small face dropped. She had tried to do magic after she was full earlier but nothing happened. This nearly made her tears come out again. But, don't worry. When your magic comes back someday, you can be your Demon Queen Highness again but until then, Big Sister will only call you by your name when you are not the Demon Queen. So tell Big Sister, what is your name? Not many could resist Shura's gentleness. She was the type of girl that could easily make anyone want to be her friend. Even Ling Chen, who had killed many people back then, had been enchanted by her. The little girl before Shura would naturally want to rely on and befriend her. So after hearing her words, she curled her lips and gave her name. "My name is Tian. Tian. That's a very cute name," Shura chuckled but she was uncertain. Was that her real name, or the name in her fantasy world? "But only you can call me this name. That big bad guy cannot. He has to call me your Demon Queen Highness." The vengeful Demon King Majesty said seriously. Okay. Come, Tian, Big Sister will take you to get changed. The clothes you're wearing are all dirty. But Mummy said I can't change out of my clothes because they can protect me. It doesn't matter, your mummy is not with you right now so you have to listen to Big Sister, okay? Big Sister? Tian was a bit confused with this form of calling. It seemed that she had not called anyone Big Sister before. Yes, because I'm older than Tian, so Tian has to call me Big Sister. You have to be an obedient, good child and then Big Sister and your mummy will like you even better, Shura said while caressing her hair. Her hair was short but it was smooth. Although she may have gotten mentally confused because of her head injury, she was still a very cute girl. Big sis. Big sis, on the balcony. Found it yet? Ling Chen softly asked the black shadow kneeling before him. The black shadow answered quickly and softly, no, not even similar ones. Every registered lost child in the nearby area was also searched. There was nothing of the girl on the photo that you gave us. Nothing? Ling Chen frowned. The mentally confused little girl was not too cute that to find another similar one would be impossible, so the search job should not have been too hard. Why was there nothing? Expand the area to the whole of Beijing, including the nearby suburbs. Answers are to be given to me tomorrow morning, Ling Chen said. The black shadow nodded, swayed a bit and disappeared into the night like a ghost. That the little girl's information could not be found with their set of skills was unexpected and odd. Could it be that this child just arrived from other places? Ling Chen was wondering this as Shura happened to walk out of the room. She got close to him and in a whisper, found her parents? Oh, and she told me just then, her name's Tian. Tian? That's more like a girl's name, Ling Chen laughed then shook his head. It appears that we have to let her stay tonight. We can do nothing but wait until information about where she lives is found. Shura was not even a little bit disappointed at the news. In fact, she was slightly joyful as she said, "It's okay. I actually wanted to stay with this cute little girl for a bit longer. I even let her change into new clothes. They're the ones I wore when I was little. Tian, quick, come out." Ling Chen could understand Shura's feelings completely. Everyone was scared of her and rejected her during those years when she was with the disease. No one except for Ling Chen had dared to approach her. This meant she had no friends or companions apart from Ling Chen. She must be enjoying herself now that there was a little girl for her to take care of. Responding to Shura's call, a small, snow-white figure hesitated, her steps sheepish as she walked out of the room. Tian had gotten rid of her black dress with soil and dirt all over and was now wearing a dress. It was a very cute, white, princess dress and she held the skirt carefully in her hands when she walked out that it seemed like she was scared to stain her new dress anywhere. She didn't have any shoes on and her two smooth, small feet tapped the floor, every toe like little pearls. Wow! Tian is so pretty. Brother look, Tian really is pretty. Shura was happily surprised as she said this. The clothes that she had let Tian changed into provided a stark contrast to the depressing black outfit she had on before. White seemed to suit Tian, showcasing a purer side of her. Her appearance was definitely improved now that she had changed and her disorderly hair was groomed as well. Every inch of skin shown was so fair and smooth that it shone. Fine waxing moon-like eyebrows, meticulous eyelashes, starry bright-like eyes, finely carved nose, cherry-like small lips, these phases used to describe the beauty of women could all be applied to little Tian who was supposedly only 10 or so years old. Her starry eyes filled with tension as she held the brim of her skirt. All previous signs of the Demon Queen before were gone. Ling Chen could not stop looking and he felt a sudden unwillingness to send the little girl away. Everyone liked pretty things and it would be such a joy to keep a cute girl like this around every day. Of course, this thought only appeared for a moment before he then quelled it. He did not forget that this girl was still mentally confused, insisting on calling herself a demon queen. This was just an illusion caused by a change of clothes and the tension in her eyes showed no promise that she wouldn't do anything if he kept her in the house. Yeah, she's very pretty, Ling Chen nodded, stating the fact. Tian, do you like the clothes now? Shura bent down, asked the little beauty gently. Yeah, I like it, it's a really pretty dress, the little Tian, who didn't want to change her clothes because of her mother's words before was filled with joy now. Even her steps were full of caution, scared that she was of dirtying her new, beautiful dress. Looking at the pretty little Tian, Shura was filled within with a sense of achievement. That's good then. Tian, let's go take a shower now, okay? Yes. Tian's eyes had lit up upon hearing the word shower. It appeared she liked showering very much. This little girl had become so obedient in such a short time, even calling Shura big sister. She was actually quite a cute and obedient girl. Ling Chen quickly put a gentle smile on his face, ready to praise Tian, little Tian. What, little Tian? Call me, Your Highness. It's Your Highness. The little girl stared at him, her lips curled and her expression furious. Why can your big sister call you Tian, but I can't? Ling Chen asked gloomily. Because big sister is a good person. You are the big bad guy. You are my servant, and if you disobey me, or even bully me, wait until I get my magic back, I will surely punish you, humph. Ling Chen, b. Shura giggled and took Tian's small hands. Okay, big brother really isn't a bad guy. Let's go take a shower first. The two beauties walked to the bathroom hand in hand. Usually, it was often Ling Chen that carried Shura into the bathroom. Ling Chen couldn't help but think that the having Tian here now had affected his and Shura's close relationship. It was better to send her off tomorrow. By the way, big brother, the clothes that Tian changed out of are still in the room. Can you help me to bring it to the balcony? Shura turned and shouted. Ling Chen walked into the room and picked up the dress that Tian was wearing before. He was surprised when he touched it because it was at least 3 times thicker than normal dresses. The thickness of it seemed unsuitable for this heat. Ling Chen quickly dismissed his confusion, but it came back again when he picked the dress up. He had expected a dress this thick to have significantly more weight than this, but as it were, it was as if he was just holding a thin layered veil. This kind of thickness with only this kind of weight. Just what kind of material was this made of? In confusion, Ling Chen brought the dress to his eyes for a closer observation. On the surface, it just appeared to be some kind of delicate cloth, but he had never heard of a cloth that was this light. Wanting to know what it was made of, he pulled experimentally at a corner, trying to tear the material. His strength was far beyond ordinary people, so force he applied to rip the fabric was not small, but the cloth in his hands didn't show a single sign of deformity, let alone a single tear. Ling Chen frowned, gripped 2 sides of the cloth, and used his full strength to tear again. Seeing that the dress was still in good condition, Ling Chen was completely in shock. Even steel wouldn't hold under his full strength, and yet this dress did not tear apart. Not even a trace of damage. He walked into the living room after he placed the dress and shoes onto the balcony. The splashing sound of water and the quiet voices of the 2 girls could be heard from the living room. Ling Chen sat onto the sofa, turned the television on, and his attention was immediately drawn to the news. The image on the TV was the place that he and Shura went to that afternoon, with the same huge pit and the rocks all over the ground. The only thing that was different was that a lot of people wearing biohazard clothing appeared on the screen. The news of a meteor falling from the sky was sure to be on the news in no time. Ling Chen thought quietly, then kept watching, although he wasn't really interested. At 5:45 in the afternoon, a meteor suddenly crashed into the fields at the east suburbs of Beijing. A huge sound was heard when it landed, resulting in the scene behind me. Let us interview Professor Wang from the University of Beijing about the source of this meteor. Professor Wang, what do we know about this meteor? From this meteor pit's size and depth, this meteor's falling speed was much slower than that of a normal meteor's. The speed at which it entered the Earth's atmosphere was also much slower than that of a normal meteor's. This point itself is enough to prove that this was actually not a meteor. Then what is it exactly? We have yet to identify what it is made of, but we have found a large amount of glassy substance within it that is not found in normal meteors. Moreover, we found a fragment to support this theory. You see, this fragment must have been inside the inner parts of the meteor, which is why it was not damaged. It seems to be metallic, but is much lighter than most metals, and there are 2 words carved into it. Ling Chen's body subconsciously leant forward, his eyes glued to the screen. Xia. I come from a star called the Xia star. When our star was attacked, my daddy died and Mummy sent me to Earth. Ling Chen, the scenes from the afternoon replayed themselves in his mind. The meteor fell and exploded. Then, the Earth gained a girl who called herself the Demon Queen. Then. Ling Chen turned and looked towards the bathroom, from which the sound of splashing could be heard. He went silent for a while, then stood up, walked to the balcony. He took Tian's dress back into the room, found a pair of scissors, and cut with all his strength. The dress seemed so light that it would be easily damaged by anything. And yet, the result of Ling Chen trying to cut it with a pair of scissors resulted in the blades of the scissors bending and curling. I don't believe this. Ling Chen took a lighter, and tried to set fire to the dress. However, no matter what he tried, the dress simply would not catch fire. He threw the lighter away, and carefully inspected the dress. Surprisingly, the dress had not been damaged in the slightest. He thought of the girl who wore the dress, completely unharmed, in the midst of all the fragments of the meteor from the explosion. Ling Chen was completely silent. It seemed that he had run into something incredible. After her shower, the little Tian was like a delicate doll, looking incredibly cute and reinvigorated. The scene of Shura leading the little Tian out made them look like 2 fairies walking out of a painting, completely stunning Ling Chen. The little Tian who just arrived at their home was curious about everything, but didn't seem to be too amazed by anything. She could even name every single piece of technology. So this is a television on Earth? It's so small, the one in my house is this big. The lights are beautiful. Do all lights on Earth look like that? Big sis, big sis. Do you have video games? I wanna play. Mummy said that there must be a lot of video games on Earth that we don't have. The Demon Queen toured around every corner of the house in no time, as if looking at her new home. Shura accompanied her through every room with patience, leaving Ling Chen silent as he watched these 2 beauties walking past him countless times. At last, the little Tian finally quietened down. Holding a gaming controller while blinking furiously, she began to excitedly play video games. However, gradually, her voice rose up again, becoming even louder than the video game itself. Could it be that this little girl has decided to keep staying here even if I don't let her? Unfortunately, Ling Chen was proven to be correct. This demon queen who lost her magic held on to Ling Shura and had decided to stay here no matter what. The plan to rule Earth could wait until the day that her magic came back. Rua, just a question, did Tian ever tell you anything about her dress? Seeing that the little Tian was completely absorbed in playing the video game while shouting, Ling Chen pulled Rua over and asked her quietly. Dress? Big brother, why do you ask? When I helped Tian change her clothes, she said, her mummy told her to never take off her dress, because that dress can protect her. Rua thought, then answered. Ling Chen, big brother, is there anything wrong with her dress? Rua asked. She wondered why Ling Chen had suddenly brought up the dress. Ling Chen nodded, then immediately shook his head. There is indeed something wrong with her dress, it's very thick, but unexpectedly light, and, let's put that aside, we'll see if we can find her family tomorrow. If they couldn't find them tomorrow, then it really would be a big problem. I noticed that too, her dress really is strange, it might be made from a very special material. Big brother, if we can't find Tian's family, what do we do? Rua was a bit worried, but was still hopeful that they could quickly reunite Tian with her family. Shui Ruo's gaze told Ling Chen what she thought in her heart. Ling Chen smiled, if we can find them that would be good, but even if we can't, she can stay with us, and Ruo Ruo will have a little sister. Shui Ruo nodded vigorously. She looked toward Tian and said quietly, Big brother, although we've only known each other for a short time, but I realize that I have come to like Tian more and more. It's like hugging an incredibly adorable doll when hugging her. Don't forget, she's the demon queen who's going to rule the earth. Ling Chen laughed. Hee, Shui Ruo started giggling too. As night fell, little Tian became tired from playing, and decided that it was time to sleep. Wow! So this is a bed on earth. It's so soft, so comfortable, it's like lying on top of many petals. Tian threw herself onto the bed, comfortably enjoying the softness she had never enjoyed before. She changed her position non-stop, lying face up, face down, lying on her side, rolling back and forth. It was as if she wanted to become part of the bed. Soon, a problem appeared. I don't want to sleep alone. Big sis, sleep with me. If I sleep alone, I'll be really scared. Big sis, will you sleep with me, please? Shui Ruo and Ling Chen had been sleeping on the same bed every day for all these years, and Shui Ruo could only fall asleep by Ling Chen's side. Shui Ruo certainly wouldn't agree to be separated from Ling Chen. She tidied up the room for little Tian, told her to sleep in this room, and Shui Ruo would sleep with Ling Chen in the room next door. The demon queen who was going to rule the earth started panicking all of a sudden and held on to Shui Ruo's arms tightly, not letting her leave. Tian is old enough now, you have to be brave and sleep alone, okay? Shui Ruo comforted her softly. No, little Tian shook her head with all her might, her two little hands refusing to let go of Shui Ruo. Mummy always stayed with me before, and it was always dark on the way to Earth. I am really scared. Big sis, you treat Tian the best. Sleep with me, please. I'll still call you Big Sis after I rule the Earth in the future, okay? The little Tian's eyes already turned misty while she was still talking. If Shui Ruo didn't agree, she definitely would start crying. Soft-hearted as she was, Shui Ruo couldn't resist little Tian's pitiful attack and quickly promised her, okay, Big Sis will sleep with Tian tonight, but Big Sis usually sleeps with Big Brother, so us three will sleep together, okay? 3 people, sleeping on the same bed. In the room next door, Ling Chen, who had great hearing, found himself imagining something unacceptable, then squashed the thought immediately. He had no qualms with Shui Ruo's arrangement, but little Tian was concerned. But Mummy said, my body cannot be touched by men before I grow up. I can't sleep on the same bed as men, so Big Sis, only you sleep with me, not the big bad guy, okay? Shui Ruo smiled, comforted. It's okay. Tian's mummy said those things. She was afraid Tian will meet some bad people, but Big Brother really isn't a bad person. The dinner that Tian had tonight was all made by Big Brother. Tian really liked it, didn't you? Big Brother will keep making yummy food for Tian in the future, so he can't be a bad person. When Big Sis is sleeping, Big Sis needs to be with Big Brother. If Tian doesn't want to be with Big Brother, then Big Sis cannot be with Tian. Us 3 together, Big Brother and I, we will protect Tian together. It was always hard for people to reject Shui Ruo's words, and little Tian could not help but forget her mummy's warning. The more she thought about Shui Ruo's words, the more they made sense to her, so she nodded with tears still in her eyes. Then, it's a promise. Big Sis has to protect me. If they couldn't find her parents, could it be that she would keep staying with them, and this sort of situation would happen every night? Ling Chen started to have a headache. Since he couldn't fall asleep, Ling Chen decided to spend his time within the world of Mystic Moon. Ding, welcome to the world of Mystic Moon. Ling Chen appeared in the scarecrow territory. He took out his weapons and charged towards a mob of scarecrows. This was a great place to gain EXP, and although there were many scarecrows, he didn't feel much pressure as their attack pattern was the same every time, and neither were they very mobile. The entire mob was decimated by Ling Chen with one swing from each weapon. It wouldn't take him very long to reach LV-19, after all, a LV-18 player killing LV-30 monsters was sure to gain much EXP in a short period of time. He looked at his EXP bar, and decided to spend a few hours farming until he reached LV-19, then head south. Master, tell me a story. When he logged on, Leng also came out from the pet dimension. She looked at him fighting the monsters, and still made the request regardless. However, she didn't seem like she was going to help him fight at all. If he knew that Leng would become addicted to listening to stories, Ling Chen under no circumstances would have agreed to tell her stories from the beginning, even if he was threatened with death. Seeing Leng gaze, he sighed, and reluctantly started to tell her a story while farming the scarecrows. Far, far away, there was a star called the Shia star. The ancestors of that star came from a place on Earth called China. Because they possessed special magic, they moved to the Shia planet, and brought a lot of technology from Earth with them. One day, the Shia star was attacked, and many people died. In order to protect her daughter, the Queen of Shia Star sent her daughter to Earth inside a spaceship. She also told her daughter to protect herself with magic, and to make the Earthlings obey her, protect her, give her food to eat, give her a place to shower, etc. She told her daughter to conquer Earth, then lead the Earthlings to save Shia Star. Leng held a doll in one hand, and supported her head with the other, listening with a look of concentration on her face. The first half was Ling Chen's guess as to the truth. The second half was completely from Ling Chen's imagination. In the end, Ling Chen and Ruo arrived at the Shia Star and used their godlike powers to defeat all of the bad people. The residents of Shia Star, including little Tian, cheered loudly and knelt before them, vowing to devote themselves to Ling Chen and Shui Ruo. From then onwards, Ling Chen and Ruo became the king and queen of the Shia Star and lived happily ever after. The end. Leng seemed satisfied from listening, but Ling Chen was exhausted. I like that story, Leng softly said as she squeezed her hands together. Ling Chen laughed with pride. I want to listen to another one. Ling Chen felt as if he was going to cry. He quickly took out a new doll for Leng. Leng, Master has something to do now, so I can't tell you another story right now. You can play with this doll first. Receiving a new doll, Leng chuckled happily, then floated aside and started to play with her new doll. Ling Chen felt relieved, and continued to torture the scarecrows. The scarecrows were of the wind element, so the crystals created by Xiao Hui were elementary wind resistance crystals. Although they were one of the worst types of crystals, they could still be sold at a decent price. Selling a large quantity of them would still bring considerable wealth to Ling Chen. After nearly an hour of farming scarecrows non-stop, his EXP had risen significantly, and he was not too far away from LV-19. Suddenly, his communication device started to ring, and Mu Bingyao's voice sounded out, "Master, Su'er is in trouble." Ling Chen was startled, and stopped farming to retreat to somewhere safe. Frowning, he asked, what happened to Su'er? He realized that it was midnight, and everyone was offline, except Mu Bingyao who had just logged on. Mu Bingyao replied in a clear voice, Su'er was with Meng Xian, Shao Qi and I for most of the day. In the afternoon, Su'er was picked up by someone sent by her parents to take her to a party, saying that she wouldn't be back until late at night. Yun Meng Xian received a call 10 minutes ago saying that Su'er had been attacked by an unknown person on the way back home. The driver and her 2 bodyguards were knocked out, and Su'er was kidnapped. What? Ling Chen had a deep frown on his face. Su'er's father was the mayor of Beijing, and her uncle was China's 3rd highest official. With such status, their family was sure to make many enemies. In fact, their family being ambushed or assassinated wasn't anything surprising. He quickly calmed down, asked, "Found any clues yet?" "Not yet, the Su family is searching the whole city right now. It won't be long until there's a result." Hearing Ling Chen's concern in his voice, Mu Bingyao asked, "Do you want us to make a move?" "No," Ling Chen refused flatly. "Beijing is the Su family's territory. It is shameful enough for them for Su'er to be kidnapped. They definitely won't let the people holding Su'er leave Beijing. Unless those people kidnapped her out of revenge, and would sacrifice their lives for hers, she should be safe for now. She'll be found within the hour." "Roger that." Su'er wasn't a very talkative girl, and would blush when people looked at her. She was as fragile as a little kitten, and was not even a little bit as domineering as princesses from rich families usually were. After spending so much time together, he really came to like this girl who liked to peek at him secretly. He couldn't help but worry when he heard that she was missing after being kidnapped. He hoped that the Su family could find her quickly and not let this delicate girl come to any harm. Ling Chen continued with his farming, throwing the entire scarecrow territory into chaos. Even without Shi Ling, he was able to gain EXP very quickly. Not only did he have ridiculously high attack power, but the range of his skills, as well as the fact that he could dual-wield meant that his farming speed was simply incredible. Xiao Hui didn't want to lose out to Ling Chen in terms of speed, so he would gobble up the corpses and spit out crystals just as quickly as Ling Chen killed the scarecrows. Another half an hour went by, and Ling Chen's LV-18 EXP bar was 70% full. He was about to ask Mu Bingyao about Su'er's status when a system announcement rang out in his ears. "Ding, someone is calling from the outside world, would you like to log off?" "Rua's calling me." Ling Chen unhesitatingly logged off. Just as he left the mystic moon world, he heard Tian's pitiful voice. "Woo, but I really want to eat chocolate. Big sis, please let me have some, okay?" "Okay." It was completely dark in the room, but little Tian's eyes twinkled in the darkness. There was probably a stream of tears running down her face. She pulled on Rua's clothes and begged her for more chocolate. Ling Chen was simply astounded. This girl had eaten a dinner that could feed 6 people, and yet here she was, in the middle of the night, asking for chocolate? "Be a good girl, Tian, big sis really doesn't have any more chocolate. Plus, it's not good to eat chocolate in the middle of the night. Big brother, you're awake." Seeing that Ling Chen had woken up, Rua exhaled in relief. "Big brother, Tian wants to eat chocolate, otherwise she can't fall asleep. She already finished all of the chocolate we bought in the afternoon, so, okay, I'll go buy some more," Ling Chen said resignedly. He knew that if it wasn't completely necessary, Rua wouldn't have interrupted him when he was in the game. Rua nodded. "I remember that they sell chocolate in the vending machine nearby. Little Tian, don't cry, big brother is going to buy you some chocolate. Quickly thank him." "Ha!" The little Tian curled her lips. "He was already this demon queen's servant, so it's his duty to buy me chocolate. There's no need to thank him." Rua smiled sweetly. Okay, then please lie down, your demon queen highness. You need to get a lot of rest at this age." After settling Tian in bed, Rua took Ling Chen's jacket and put it on him. "Sorry big brother, she's just a kid after all, please come back soon." Ling Chen sighed as he walked out of the house into the cool evening breeze, and this was just the first day. If she stayed here forever, how was he going to survive? This child that he and Rua brought back seemed to be even scarier than a real demon king or demon queen. However, he decided to go along with it. After all, Rua really liked this little girl. "Protect them." Before walking out, he gave out an order in a low voice. Ling Chen strolled in melancholy, and before he knew it, he had already walked past 2 streets. It was nearly 1, and cars only passed by occasionally under the dim street lights. Soon, he arrived at his destination. It was a pedestrian street not too wide, and every shop was closed already. There were only vending machines on the street sides. With both of his hands tucked in his pockets, Ling Chen wandered forwards. Suddenly, his ears twitched, and he stopped. Scree! The sound of a car braking suddenly screeched out from the intersection in front of him. Leading after that, 2 blinding car lights shone onto Ling Chen. The car shot towards Ling Chen, and it was right in front of him in no time. However, there was no sign of it slowing down. Vehicles were prohibited on pedestrian streets, but this car kept accelerating after it turned into the pedestrian street, and exceeded 120 km per hour when it reached Ling Chen. The lights in the pedestrian street was bright enough, and Ling Chen was walking in the middle of the road. The driver could definitely see Ling Chen, but did not slow down at all or swerve to avoid him. In just moments the car would crash into him. This person's looking to die. Ling Chen's face dropped. If it was an ordinary person, they would surely die from being hit by a car at such a speed. At midnight, someone who dared to drive in such a manner on a pedestrian street, not caring if they hit and killed anyone, was definitely either a madman or a criminal. Ling Chen's face darkened, but he did not move from where he was standing. He stared the car down as it sped towards him. From anyone else's perspective, it would seem like that he was so petrified that he couldn't move. Bang! The car smashed into Ling Chen, and the ground below him cracked. Ling Chen's body leaned back, but his feet did not move back even a single step, much less go flying. Instead, the car was sent flying. It was as if the car had smashed into a solid metal wall. The windscreen glass was completely smashed, and with the engine still roaring, the car flipped. Terrified screams could be heard coming from within the car. Seeing Ling Chen without a scratch on his body after being hit by the car, anyone's jaws would have dropped to the ground. Moreover, he had not even moved back a single step. This was the monstrous body that had been forged in heaven and hell. Ling Chen clearly knew that if he was a normal person, he would have died instantly, so he did not care at all if those in the car died. Amongst the voices screaming in the car, one sounded particularly familiar. Wait, this voice. With his incredibly strong mental power, Ling Chen could remember any voice after hearing it just once. Of the screams coming from the car, 2 belonged to men and 2 belonged to women. One of the women's voices, although it was just a scream, but a girl appeared in his mind. Suer. Bang! At this moment, the doors on the left side of the car were flung open, and a small figure fell out from the car. Ling Chen instantly charged forwards, fast as lightning, and caught the person. He held on to her tightly, and flipped in the air, then rolled a few times after hitting the ground to decrease the chances of the person getting hurt. The girl he was holding, who he had instantly recognized, was obviously Suer. Her arms were tied behind her back, and her eyes wide open in horror, her face pale. Although she was in shock, that couldn't cover her beauty. Ling Chen was about to call out her name, but caught himself before he let it slip. He untied the rope which bound her arms together, and gently shook her. Are you okay? Although Suer was definitely in shock, there was no blood on her and she was still conscious. Ling Chen felt as if a weight had been taken off his heart. Although she had been flung out when the car door opened, he made it in time, and prevented her from suffering any serious injuries. He just hoped that she did not receive any internal injuries. Bam! The car crashed onto the ground, and flipped a few times. It finally smashed through a jewelry shop, resulting in a deafening alarm ringing. Fate was simply too unpredictable. He had actually somehow bumped into the kidnapped Suer on his way to buying the little demon queen some chocolate. Ling Chen patted Suer's back to calm her down. His gaze rested on the car, which now had smoke coming out of it. So the people inside were the kidnappers of Suer? No wonder they were driving like madmen, it seemed that they had been discovered and they were trying to escape. At that moment, a few figures clad in black appeared. Ling Chen looked towards them and made a simple gesture with his fingers. The other people in the car were not as lucky as Shura. They, who were stuck in the car, could not be more dead than dead. There was no need for Ling Chen or his subordinates to finish them off. Looking down, Ling Chen saw that Shura was staring at his face. Her face was still pale, but her eyes were focused, though her body was as weak and soft as cotton. Ling Chen smiled at her, "Don't be afraid, it's okay now." Tears started flowing out of Shura's eyes. She sniffled, then started crying as she buried her head into Ling Chen's chest. After all, Shura was still a 15-year-old girl. After what had just happened, she was probably on the brink of having a mental collapse. She couldn't have cared more who had just saved her, she simply hugged onto him tightly and cried her heart out. The figures clad in black stayed around the car for a while, then left quickly. By now, the car had started to burn, and there was no chance that anyone was still alive inside. The sound of sirens rang out, and soon, the police, as well as the Su family, would be there. Ling Chen knew that he could not stay any longer. He gently took Shura's arms off him, and put her against a wall. He patted her back, saying, "Okay, it's okay now, don't cry." Shura continued to cry. It was the only thing she could do after suffering such a fright. "The police and your family will be here soon, and you'll be home before you know it. I need to leave first, you'll only have to wait a little while before they get here." Shura's hands held onto his arms tightly, and Ling Chen was forced to gently pry them off. Hearing that he was going to leave, Shura's crying died down, and while still holding on to Ling Chen's arm, she looked at him with her misty eyes. Don't go. I'm so scared." Ling Chen shook his head with a smile. "Don't be scared, it's all right now. Those bad people all died in the car, so no one will harm you anymore, and your family will be here soon. Also, me saving you is a secret, so please don't tell anyone, including your family, okay?" Ling Chen forced himself to once again move away Shura's small hands. Shura's tears were still flowing, but she came from a prominent family, and knew how to conduct herself properly. She did not try to stop him from leaving again, but trembled, and wrapped her arms around herself. She gazed at him through her watery eyes, as if she wanted to carve his looks into her memory. Ling Chen smiled at her, then looked over at vending machines that had been knocked over by the car. He cursed inside. He had expected a few vending machines to be knocked over and broken by the car, but did it really have to be the two that sold chocolates? "I'm going. Can we meet again?" Shura's eyes quivered as she looked at him. Although she was still young, and had just gone through a frightful event, she was still incredibly beautiful. Adding on to her natural gentleness and fragility, no one could resist falling in love with such a girl. Ling Chen stopped, and secretly smiled. We will meet again." My name is Shura, may I know what your name is?" Ling Chen's impression of Shura was a shy girl who rarely talked, especially in front of him. She seemed not to have had much interaction with boys since she was little, which was why she tended to be very shy around boys. However, she had asked him, who had saved her, if they would meet again, as well as his name. This would have taken an incredible amount of courage from her. Although he could not bear to reject Shura's question, Ling Chen could not answer. He simply couldn't risk exposing himself. He looked at the girl who was hugging herself with her arms, and was trembling. Was it from fear, or from the coolness of the night breeze? He took off the jacket he was wearing, and put it on Shura. He smiled at her, then left. Although she greatly desired to, Shura did not chase after him or call him. She held on to the jacket that he had given her, her eyes stuck on this mysterious man as he walked away, as if she was intoxicated. 10 seconds after Ling Chen left, he heard a large number of cars approaching. On a roof far away, Ling Chen relaxed, and spoke to himself. "It seems that there's nothing I can do now. I really hope Su'er didn't suffer any internal injuries. A black shadow appeared behind him and whispered, the surveillance cameras in all streets within a 3-street radius have all been disabled. The recordings from the past hour have all been wiped. Ling Chen nodded in satisfaction, and looked to where Su'er was. 10 or so cars sped through, and stopped in front of Su'er. A large group of people surrounded Su'er, protecting her, and another group of people held guns and fire extinguishers and ran towards the burning car. A middle-aged couple walked down from the last car and called out Su'er's name. Su'er quickly ran into the woman's embrace and started crying again. Fate was simply incredible. Ling Chen had coincidentally met Su'er in reality just when she needed him the most, and had inadvertently saved her. Ling Chen looked to the figure in black behind him, and his face became serious. He spoke in a very severe tone, I have a very important task for you to do. It must be completed within 15 minutes. Faced with Ling Chen's serious face and tone, the figure in black tensed, and nodded quickly. Ling Chen held out a red note, and said seriously, immediately buy 10 chocolates. I want you back as soon as possible. Though it was dark, Ling Chen could see the figure in black's facial muscles twitching. Ling Chen told Shui Ruo what had happened when he went out. While listening, Shui Ruo could not help but exclaim in shock now and then. After Ling Chen told her that he had confirmed that Su'er was taken home by her parents, she let out a breath that she had been holding the whole time. She anxiously asked, Big brother, is Su'er really okay? To be thrown out from the car, do you think she would be hurt badly? Ling Chen couldn't confirm, but he comforted her, I'm sure she should be fine. Let's ask Meng Xian and the others when we see them tomorrow. The entire box of chocolates was finished by Tian in just a short while. After she finished her meal of chocolates, she licked her lips and exclaimed in a satisfied manner, I'm full. She threw the box on the ground, and collapsed onto the bed. Tian, brush your teeth before you sleep. Otherwise, your teeth are going to have cavities. Shui Ruo called out to Tian many times, but Tian did not react at all. Soon after, she found that Tian was already fast asleep with a smile on her face. Ling Chen was completely speechless. She had devoured a meal for 6 people for dinner, then eaten a whole box of chocolate in the middle of the night, and had finally dropped onto the bed and immediately fell asleep. God damn, was this little girl a pig in her past life? Shui Ruo did not continue to try to wake her up. Instead, she gently moved Tian's body so that she could sleep in a more comfortable position, and put a pillow under her head. No matter if it was her expression or actions, they were all incredibly gentle and nurturing, as if the little girl was her own daughter, although Shui Ruo herself was not much more than a child. Shui Ruo also lay down, and lovingly looked at the sleeping Tian. Shui Ruo continued to silently gaze at Tian, and started to giggle after a while. Big brother, look, Tian's so cute when she's sleeping. Shui Ruo softly said as she lay against Ling Chen. The sleeping Tian not only looked extremely cute, but was also quite beautiful as well, though she was still very young. To look like this when she was only 10 or so, she would definitely become as beautiful and alluring as Shui Ruo when she grew up. If we can have such a cute daughter, that'd be so wonderful. Shui Ruo murmured. If we do our best, we'll have one in not too long, and she'll definitely be cuter than Tian. Ling Chen gently replied to Shui Ruo, as he reached out with his hands and squeezed Shui Ruo's breasts. He smiled evilly, in order to achieve our goal, let's both work hard. Shui Ruo immediately went red, and shyly replied, but won't Tian hear us? We should wait until Tian's not here, okay? With the little demon queen next to them, as well as how late it was getting, Shui Ruo was bound to be tired, so Ling Chen did not continue. He put his arms around Shui Ruo's waist, and gently kissed her, before we have a kid, we need to get some rest. Let's get some sleep, and we can continue investigating this topic tomorrow. Shui Ruo sweetly smiled, and pressed herself against Ling Chen's chest. Very quickly, she fell asleep in his embrace. Ling Chen did not enter the game again, but went to sleep as well. Early in the morning. I'm so hungry. I want to eat. The high-pitched yelling almost caused Ling Chen to fall off the bed. To be able to yell with such a voice, and to be screaming about food so early in the morning, that could only be Tian. Ling Chen opened his eyes, and looked at the clock on the wall. It was only 5 a.m. Beside him, Shui Ruo had also been woken up. She half opened her eyes, evidently still not fully awake. Normally, they would still be asleep at this time. The earliest they would even think about getting up would be around 7 a.m. Looking over, he saw that little Tian was energetically standing up on the bed. In total, she had slept for about 6 hours last night, and yet, she had woken up so early and was so boisterous as soon as she woke up. It must feel good to be so young, Ling Chen thought to himself, followed by, if she's going to be like this every morning, our lives are over. Although it was still early, Shui Ruo got up, and rubbed her eyes. She stretched, and gently smiled, patting Tian's cheeks. Tian, you woke up so early. Tian nodded her head, and pointed towards her stomach. Big sis, I'm hungry, I want to eat something. After feeling Tian's stomach, Shui Ruo confirmed that it was completely empty. Tian's metabolism was simply astonishing. Shui Ruo lovingly tidied up Tian's disorderly hair and clothes, and smilingly said, let's go to wash our faces and brush our teeth first, then have breakfast. What does Tian want to eat? I'll come as well. Ling Chen also got up. Seeing how energetic Tian was already, it would be pretty much impossible for Ling Chen to continue sleeping. As such, Tian excitedly played video games while Ling Chen and Shui Ruo busily rushed around cooking breakfast. Although they had not acknowledged Tian to be some sort of demon queen Highness, but they revolved around her as if they were her servants. During breakfast, Tian ate a meal that could feed 5 people. Despite seeing her performance at dinner the previous day, Ling Chen and Shui Ruo were still completely amazed by this little girl. After eating until she was full, Tian rushed back to her video games, completely ignoring Ling Chen and Shui Ruo's existence. At least she wasn't completely clinging on to them, not giving them any private time together. After an hour, Ling Chen received some information. In the end, his subordinates were unable to find out who Tian's parents were, and could not even find any information regarding Tian. Master, do you want us to expand the search perimeter? Perhaps she came with relatives from overseas, then got lost. After considering Person in Black's proposal, Ling Chen thought for a while, then helplessly shook his head. Forget it, you can stop investigating this matter for now. The Person in Black nodded, and vanished. When Ling Chen told Shui Ruo the information, she did not seem disappointed at all, but instead smiled happily. If we can't find her parents, let's just let her stay here for now. Look, she's so happy staying with us, and it doesn't seem like she wants to leave at all. Having a place to sleep, eat and play, as well as a pretty older sister who complies with her every wish, even I wouldn't want to leave. Ling Chen despondently thought. Tian's cuteness could conquer most people, especially a kind and gentle girl like Shui Ruo. However, her temperament was not nearly as cute as her appearance. Regardless, since Shui Ruo liked her, Ling Chen wouldn't object. As such, he could only allow this to become Tian's new home. With Tian present, Shui Ruo was not able to enter the game, otherwise Tian would create a ruckus. Ling Chen went back to the bedroom, and lay on the bed. He prayed that Tian would not disturb him while he was playing, and logged into the game. It was already late in the morning, and apart from Mu Bingyao, none of the girls from Heart's Dream, or Yun Feng, were online. Ling Chen took out his map and looked at it, then headed south. After an hour or so, he entered a small town. He found the item shop, and bought a teleport scroll for that town. Afterwards, he changed his equipment, and returned to Azure Dragon City. At this time, he saw a notification that Yunmeng Xian and Shao Qi had logged on. Thus, he directly headed towards the Heart's Dream building. When Yunmeng Xian and Shao Qi saw him, they didn't even have time to greet him before hurriedly saying, "Big brother Ling Tian, did you know something happened to Su'er last night?" I already heard about it. Mu Bingyao told me just then. How is she now? Ling Chen asked. Luckily we were able to bring her back. She's in the hospital right now, and the preliminary analysis showed that there's nothing too serious, only a sprained ankle. The doctors are worried that she might have some internal injuries, so they're going to keep her at the hospital for a few days until they can confirm she's completely fine. Yunmeng Xian calmly said. Knowing that Su'er was safe and sound with her family in the hospital put their minds at ease. Did they find out who were the perpetrators? Ling Chen inquired. Not yet, but there should be results soon. Big brother Ling Tian, did you know, a very mysterious hero saved Su Su last night. Su Su said that person was like Superman. He caused the car to go flying, and rescued Su Su who had been thrown out from the car. Afterwards, he gave his jacket to Su Su, but he didn't even tell her who he was. In the hospital, Su Su kept holding on to the jacket, and wouldn't let anyone take it away from her. Sometimes she just holds the jacket and looks deep in thought, although no one knows what she's thinking about. As she spoke, Shao Qi became more and more excited. She clasped her hands in front of her chest, and looked at the ceiling with twinkling eyes, imagining a wonderful scene. I wish that someday, if I'm in danger, there would be a man who descends from the sky, defeats all the bad guys, then puts his jacket on me and coolly leaves without even leaving his name. Wah! What a scenario! If I was Su Su, I would definitely run up and hug him. Ling Chen, Yunmeng Xian gently smiled. Su Su never lies, so what she told us was probably the truth. In that case, the person who saved her was probably an esper who specializes in strength, and is very powerful. However, Su Su is not willing to say what that person looked like nor his age. What's even more strange is that all the security cameras stopped working for that period of time, and it's impossible to find the footage from the attack. All in all, it's good that Su'er's safe. Ling Chen said as he smiled. Su Su. Why are you here? Shouldn't you be resting in the hospital? Shao Qi anxiously asked as she ran over to Su'er. Su'er's appearance also caused Ling Chen to feel surprised. Su'er did not have a very strong personality, so after going through such an ordeal, it would be normal for her to take up to half a month to recover. He asked, Su'er, I heard something happened last night, are you alright? Indeed, Su'er, why have you come? Are you sure you shouldn't be getting more rest? Yunmeng Xian caringly asked. Su'er gently shook her head, and smiled, it's alright, I wasn't really hurt or anything. Besides, entering the game won't affect me getting rest. While speaking, her gaze rested on Ling Chen. Before, she had never dared to directly look at Ling Chen. She would only secretly peek at him for a short while when he wasn't looking. If he turned to face her, she would hurriedly avert her gaze like a frightened little rabbit. And yet, she was looking at Ling Chen directly, as if she wanted to look through his mask and see what he really looked like. It's good that you're fine, make sure that you take care of yourself and watch out when you go out. Su Su, is there anything on my face? Seeing that Su'er was looking at him so strangely, Ling Chen put his hand on his mask as he asked. Su'er quickly looked away, and shook her head, no, it's nothing. Ling Chen smiled, are you still thinking about your ordeal from last night? Those things are already in the past, and they won't happen again, so it's best not to think of them anymore. I'm sure that Su Su's family and friends will definitely protect Su Su well in future. Yep. Shao Qi vigorously nodded, "We'll definitely protect Su Su well in future." Ling Chen took out a scroll covered with a green glow. "Su Su, this is for you." Seeing the scroll, all the girls stared at it. Su'er paused in shock, then carefully received the scroll with her hands. When they looked at the attributes of the scroll, they all started to let out cries of surprise. Hidden Profession Scroll. This scroll was the scroll that Ling Chen had found on the Zephyr Bird, the Wind Spirit Marksman. Everyone knew how rare and valuable Hidden Profession Scrolls were. A single Hidden Profession Scroll was not worth any less than the first guild creation token. To be able to have a special profession was every player's dream. Without going through any trials or risks, simply crushing the scroll would put them far above any other player. This was something irresistible to every single player. Su'er was an archer, and this scroll just happened to be suitable for archers. Su'er's mouth opened in shock, and stood completely still for a while. She pressed it against her chest, and her cute face became slightly pink. "Thank you, big brother Ling Tian. I really like it. I'm really happy. I'm glad that you like it. I hope that this will help you forget about the unpleasant things from last night," Ling Chen said as he smiled. At the same time, he inwardly frowned. He felt that Su'er was looking at him very strangely today. Hold on, could she have figured out that it was him last night? She had never met him before in real life, and he had spoken to her with a fake voice. How could she have realized that it was him? He was probably overthinking. "I want one as well." Shao Qi let go of Su'er, and jumped in front of Ling Chen, almost crashing into him. "Big brother Ling Tian, I also want a Hidden Profession Scroll. Big sister Meng Xian has one, little sister Ruo Ruo has one, big sister Mu Bing Yao doesn't even need one, and now Su Su has one as well. It's just me who doesn't have one. Big brother Ling Tian, can you give me one as well?" Shao Qi's hands were clinging on to Ling Chen's arm, shaking it non-stop. In front of Ling Tian, this domineering princess of the Battle Alliance was acting like a cute little girl, making it hard for him to reject her request. Ling Chen's head hurt, but he could only helplessly shake his head. Chi, right now I really don't have any more Hidden Profession Scrolls. Next time I find one, I'll immediately give it to you, alright? Really? Yay! Then it's a deal, don't you dare take it back. Of course, Shao Qi knew how rare Hidden Profession Scrolls were. In reality, she didn't expect Ling Chen to just hand one over immediately. To be able to get such a promise from him, she was satisfied. "Of course I'll keep my word. I'll give this to you for now, so do your best to get to LV-20. Ling Chen took out the LV-20 Spectre staff that he had picked up from the Warring Palace skeleton, and gave it to Shao Qi. As soon as she saw it, she began yelling out, "Long live big brother Ling Tian," then began to lovingly inspect it. "Where's Ruo Ruo? It's rare to not see you together," Yun Meng Xian asked as she walked over. "Ruo Ruo she has to take care of some things today, so she wasn't able to come," Ling Chen replied. When they thought of their little demon queen at home, his head started to hurt again. After chatting with the girls for quite a while, Ling Chen left the Heart's Dream building. As he was leaving, he could feel there was someone staring at him from behind. Evidently, that gaze belonged to Su'er. What was going on? Did she really know that it was him? Ling Chen simply couldn't fathom how she could possibly know that it was him, so he put it in the back of his mind. He used the teleport scroll bought from before to go back to the town he was at previously, stocked up on his potions, then continued to head south. The journey was an extremely boring one. There was not much to the south of the Azure Dragon City. Although he had traveled for quite a long time, he had not encountered any challenging or difficult areas. However, there was Leng Er to keep him company, so it wasn't too bad. After traveling for about 2 hours, he passed by less and less people, until he reached an area completely devoid of life. After passing through the fields region, he had arrived at a deserted region. Ling Chen opened his map, and looked at the information about this region. About 100 years ago, there had been a great war here, and many people had died. Their bones had been buried under the ground, causing this place to become an unlucky place. As such, not many people were willing to enter here, although there wasn't much danger, nor any strong monsters. With his worries put aside, Ling Chen entered the deserted region. There were many weeds and grasses growing here, and stones were scattered all over the place. However, it was much more peaceful than most other places. Ling Chen pressed on with full speed, and as he told Ling'er stories, he found that he had reached the center of the deserted region. At this moment, Xiao Hui, who had been napping all this time, suddenly opened his eyes and his ears shot up. Without even waiting for Ling Chen, he jumped down from the cloud-stepping mare, and charged towards the right. Did Xiao Hui find some kind of treasure? Ling Chen did not hesitate at all, and chased after Xiao Hui. Xiao Hui ran for a while, then finally stopped in front of a withered tree. He ran around in circles for a while, then jumped up, and started using his claws to dig the ground beneath him. Could there be some sort of or buried under the ground? Ling Chen took out a shovel. Xiao Hui, I'll do it. After that time with the mysterious red sun gold, Ling Chen decided to invest in a shovel. Because his profession was not that of a miner, he could only use a low-grade shovel. If someone was to explore a mine with this shovel, they would only be able to find a few ores after an entire day. However, because Ling Chen knew exactly where he should be digging, it was enough to get the job done. Normally, it would be impossible to know exactly where ores and crystals were buried, but Xiao Hui was the perfect solution to this problem. Of course, shovels had their limits. They could only dig very shallowly in most terrains, and the ground would be restored after a while. This meant that it would be almost impossible to cover a large area with a shovel. Moreover, the best mining spots always had powerful monsters. It would be very dangerous for a player with a mining profession to go mining by himself or herself. The rarest and most valuable treasures were not usually found in conventional mines, but rather in the wilderness. Such treasures were things that could only be found by luck. After digging for a long time, the ground did not show any sign of being restored. Ling Chen put all of his strength into digging, and soon, the hole was 30 centimeters deep. All of a sudden, ding rang out. Ling Chen had found something after digging about 30 centimeters, which was a lot shallower than he had expected. Ling Chen brushed the dirt covering the object aside, and saw an ordinary, crude stone. Ling Chen looked at Xiao Hui, and immediately, the information regarding the stone was transmitted to him. Spatial stone, a stone that contains mysterious spatial energy. It is usually naturally created in regions in which the 7 elements are perfectly balanced, making it very rare. It tends to irregularly move around after being formed, and can move anywhere. Using special methods, one can extract the spatial energy from within the spatial stone and create special items. However, the forging requirements are extremely high, requiring the forging technique to be at least that of the Heaven's End grade. People who can use the spatial stone to forge items are incredibly rare. Spatial stone. Although it had a very ordinary appearance, it turned out that this stone had important qualities. It's a spatial stone, little master, quickly grab it. Don't let it get away no matter what. Within his mind, Chiyu's voice sounded out. The description of the spatial stone said it could move around, so Ling Chen did not hesitate, and took out one of the spatulas he had bought from Qian Gun Gun. He put it against the spatial stone, and immediately, the entire spatial stone was separated from the ground. Ling Chen put his hand over it and easily picked it up. The spatial stone was only about as big as his fist, and didn't look at all different to normal stones. However, to be able to cause Chiyu to cry out in shock meant that this stone was definitely very valuable. Holding the stone in his hand, he asked, Chiyu, what can this stone be used for? Sure. Chiyu did not answer, but whispered back, "Little master, stay quiet and quickly hide, your old friend is here." Old friend? Ling Chen looked up and saw that in the distance, a golden, round, fat cat was swaggering towards where he was. Although it was still quite far away, he could still hear the jingling of the bell around its neck. Ling Chen's eyes widened. That was Lucky Cat. Ling Chen's luck stat was indeed much higher than that of most other players. Although he had 11 points in luck, that shouldn't cause him to meet a lucky cat 3 times in such a short period of time. Moreover, in the same short period of time, he had found 3 of the god orbs of the lunar scourge, met many godly, mythical creatures that normal players wouldn't even dream of meeting, received the legacy of the Shura, met Tian Gun, as well as found mystical red sun gold and a spatial stone. Could it be that this was all because of it? Lucky Cat. Seeing the lucky cat that was swaggering nearer and nearer, Ling Chen gritted his teeth so hard that it was audible. He wasn't thinking about how rare it was to meet a lucky cat again, but rather, his mind was filled with rage from remembering when this big, fat cat had stolen all of his gold. "This damn cat, I'll definitely catch you and roast you this time." He decided that he would hide behind this tree, completely silent and suppressing his aura, and strike out when the time was right. At this moment, the information regarding the lucky cat was transmitted into Ling Chen's mind. This information evidently came from Xiao Hui's Eye of the Holy Spirit. Although the lucky cat was still quite far away, it seemed that it was still within the range of Xiao Hui's skill. Ling Chen was just about to tell Xiao Hui to also hide behind the tree, but he suddenly saw the lucky cat's skills. Money Shield, Money Attack, Money Escape, Treasure Monster Summon, Lucky Hand. When close to the target it stretches its paw, stealing all the gold of the target in a moment without the target noticing. True Lucky Hand. When close to the target it stretches its paw, stealing all the gold and items of the target in a moment without the target noticing. All of the Lucky Cat's skills were very unique and incredibly powerful. The Money Shield was a ridiculously powerful defensive skill. As long as it had enough money, even a Saint Destroyer beast had no chance of killing it. The Money Attack was a ridiculously powerful offensive skill. As long as it had enough money, it could even insta-kill a Saint Destroyer beast. The Money Escape was a ridiculously convenient way of escaping. Throwing some money away would cause it to teleport far, far away. Even gods would not be able to catch it if it wanted to run. In comparison to these overpowered skills, Lucky Hand, and True Lucky Hand, were even more broken. These skills could cause as much pain as the target dying 1,000 times. To be able to steal all of the target's items and gold in a single moment, even Ling Chen was scared stiff by these skills. He subconsciously put his hand over his bag. Even in the early stages of the game, becoming the victim of this skill could cause one to rage quit. This was even more so in the middle and late stages of the game, when all of one's efforts in collecting items and gold would go to waste in a single second. This was enough to cause anyone to weep bitterly for many, many days. If he could have such a terrifying skill. Ling Chen's heart started to thump hard. He grinned, and slowly took out a scroll from his bag. The reward from the Moon God Ruins quest Skill Copy Scroll. Skill Copy Scroll, a mysterious scroll that allows the user to copy a target's skills. When used, the user can choose one skill to copy from the target. The target must be within the user's field of vision. Cannot copy limited use skills, passive skills, or evolved skills. The copied skill will start from LV1. Disappears after use. As long as the target is within the user's field of vision. Ling Chen carefully poked his head out from behind the tree and looked towards the lucky cat. The lucky cat was swaggering along quite slowly, and was still about 100 meters away. Although he could see it clearly, he wasn't within range for it to detect him. He didn't know if this scroll could copy a skill from the lucky cat, but if it could, hey. Ling Chen slowly breathed in, and opened the scroll as he stared at the lucky cat. immediately a dim flash of light appeared, and 6 skills appeared on the scroll: Money Shield, Money Attack, Money Escape, Treasure Monster Summon, Lucky Hand, True Lucky Hand. Ling Chen stretched out his finger and selected, True Lucky Hand. Inside, he was screaming, "Please work." However, he didn't expect that it would work, because if it did, he would have the most overpowered and broken skill known to gaming history. Normally, the designer of a game would definitely not allow such a skill to fall into the hands of a player. Moreover, the Lucky Cat was not just some ordinary creature. It, as well as its skills, were all unique and special, so how could its skills be so easily copied? Despite this, Ling Chen still had to try. The words, "True Lucky Hand," on the scroll flashed a few times. At the same time, the Lucky Cat's body in the distance also flashed a few times, but it didn't seem to notice. It kept swaggering and sauntering towards Ling Chen's position in a very relaxed manner. Ling Chen concluded that this Lucky Cat must have a very high sense of danger, but very poor eyesight. Ding! True Lucky Hand is the evolved version of Lucky Hand, so it cannot be copied. A system announcement rang out, telling him that his attempt had failed. From the name, it seemed that True Lucky Hand was indeed the evolved version of Lucky Hand, and the scroll did say that evolved skills could not be copied. Ling Chen once again breathed in. In that case, let's try Lucky Hand. Please don't fail. Ling Chen tapped on Lucky Hand on the scroll. Once again, the skill name flashed a few times, as did the Lucky Cat's body. Ding! You have successfully copied Lucky Cat's active skill, Lucky Hand, current level, LV1. Ding! Holy Spirit's gift has caused your skill, Lucky Hand, to rise to LV2. The scroll shattered in his hand, and dissipated quickly. Hearing the announcement, Ling Chen was instantly overjoyed. Success! It had actually succeeded. Succeeded! He almost did not dare to believe what had just happened, because from the bottom of his heart, he didn't think that the system would allow a player to copy such a broken skill. He quickly opened his stats page, and looked at his skills. His gaze locked on to the Lucky Hand skill. Lucky Hand, current level, LV2, highest level, LV5, SP to upgrade to LV3, 180,000. After reaching LV5, the skill will automatically evolve into True Lucky Hand. A godly skill that comes from the treasure creature Lucky Cat. This skill allows the user to use an unseen hand to steal away the target's money without the target noticing. Within range, the user can steal 20% to 40% of the target's money. The success rate is affected by the target's level, grade and luck. Base success rate for stealing is luck x 4%. Being able to steal without being detected is also affected by the target's level, grade and luck. Base success rate for not being detected is luck x 4%. Consumes 10 MP, cooldown time, 10 seconds. Ling Chen, this savage skill had been weakened by quite a bit after being acquired by him, but it still allowed him to steal a whopping 20% to 40% of the target's money. Moreover, Lucky Hand only costed 10 MP and had a 10-second cooldown time, so even if he couldn't steal all of the target's money in one go, he could continue to steal from them after 10 seconds. Currently, Ling Chen's luck was 11, so merely the base chance of him successfully stealing, as well as not being detected, was 44%. Moreover, because his level and luck were much higher than that of other players, the total success rate would be much, much higher. However, what pained him to see was that the SP required to level up Lucky Hand to LV3 was a tremendous 180,000. This was almost double as much as that which was necessary to fully level up Soul Sacrifice. Despite this, Ling Chen wasn't too disheartened. For such a powerful skill to be acquired by a player, it would only be fair for there to be some limitations. Even to him, leveling up this skill would be incredibly difficult. However, he had Xiao Hui. With Xiao Hui's Holy Spirit's gift, he could still level up the skill. Xiao Hui was truly a blessing. Within his mind flashed many scenarios of him using this devastating skill on his targets. Ling Chen quickly calmed down his mind, called back Xiao Hui and held his breath behind the tree. The next step for him was to catch this big, fat cat. This time, the third time, Ling Chen was determined to catch it. Ling Chen was fairly confident this time he would not make the same mistake as last time, and would use the lunar scourge as soon as he had the chance to. Ling Chen stuck closely to the tree and held his breath. His right arm was prepared. As soon as the lucky cat came within 18 meters, he would immediately use Moon Shadow and catch it. Qiyu had previously said that the lucky cat definitely would not allow anything dangerous come within 50 meters of it. That was to say, its sense of danger within 50 meters was incredibly high. However, Ling Chen was a master of both espionage and counter-espionage. He was completely immobile, and not breathing in the slightest. Anyone who saw him would believe that he was dead. All of his focus was gathered on his sense of hearing, which he used to gauge how far away the lucky cat was. "Little master, are you still trying to catch it?" Qiyu asked in a surprised voice. "Of course." Ling Chen replied with a look of concentration on his face. The lucky cat has an extraordinary sense of danger. The range of Little Master's Moon Shadow is still not enough. Catching the lucky cat this time will be almost impossible. "That's not for sure," Ling Chen quickly replied. He stopped talking as he heard the lucky cat coming closer and closer to his position. The lucky cat was very close now, and at this moment, Qiyu let out an "oh" of surprise. The lucky cat was within 50 meters of Ling Chen, but it continued to walk forwards. Evidently, it had not sensed Ling Chen. Qiyu was incredibly shocked. The lucky cat had one of the strongest sense of danger out of all creatures. Even if it was just a feather landing on the ground, or even a heart thumping, it would be able to sense it within the 50 meters. However, it had not detected Ling Chen for some reason. Qiyu looked over at Ling Chen. Although his eyes were open, they were not moving in the slightest and he had not blinked for some time. He looked exactly like a statue. This level of control over one's body was simply astounding. If even the lucky cat couldn't detect him, then who could possibly find him when he wanted to hide? It seemed that with the help of the lunar scourge, perhaps Ling Chen really would be able to catch this lucky cat. 1 second, 2 seconds, 3 seconds. Qiyu stopped speaking, so as to not disturb Ling Chen. Ling Chen heard the lucky cat coming closer and closer and forced himself to be calm. He estimated that the lucky cat was about 40 meters away, then 30 meters, then. Ding, someone is calling from the outside world. Would you like to log off or listen now? In his state of extreme focus, this loud system announcement caused him to involuntarily gasp. Although this would not be audible to anyone more than 1 meter away, he heard the lucky cat suddenly stop walking, and after a whoosh. "Aya, the fathead ran away," Qiyu said lightheartedly. Ling Chen, $%. After waiting patiently for such a long time, it had all been ruined by a system announcement. Ling Chen chose to listen to what the person from outside was saying. "I want to eat chocolate. Hurry up and buy me chocolate." Tian's yelling voice was at least at 90 decibels, causing Ling Chen's ears to hurt. If it was Shui Ruo calling him, he would have been fine with it. However, it was Tian. He immediately became completely enraged. Ling Chen logged off, and opened his eyes. He sat up, and saw Tian was standing in front of him with her hands on her hips. Seeing that Ling Chen had woken up, the little Tian pointed at him and yelled, "Big bad guy, this demon queen wants to eat chocolate, hurry up and buy me some." "If you want to eat chocolate, buy it yourself," Ling Chen retorted. "You're my servant, so you have to buy for me." "I'm not going to. I'll see what you can do to make me." Ling Chen stared at her with flames in his eyes. He was completely, utterly, furious. The little Tian had no idea. She sniffled, and angrily said, why you big bad guy? You're disobeying this demon queen yet again. Once this demon queen recovers her magic, this little brat had been kindly picked up by him and Shura and brought back to their home. He had even gone out to buy her chocolate in the middle of the night, and she did not even thank him. And now, she was acting so arrogantly in front of him, and had caused him to miss out on catching the lucky cat. He really wanted to spank her badly. And so, that's what he did. Before the little Tian finished talking, he grabbed her and put her over his knee, and talked to her in a furious voice, "Little Tian. I'm just not going to obey you, what can you do about it? This is my home, so you have to listen to me. Got it?" The little Tian began to desperately struggle, "You big bad guy. Hurry up and let me go. The demon queen, will not listen to you. Let me go." Still so arrogant? Ling Chen raised his right hand, and smacked downwards. Smack. Ling Chen was angry, but still held himself back. Despite this, the smack was still enough for Tian's bottom to flare into pain. The little Tian had grown up being spoiled, and everyone had always been completely subservient to her. No one had ever hurt a single hair on her head before. Immediately, she started to bawl, "Wawa! You big bad guy! You hit me, you dared to hit me, so what if I hit you? Are you going to be disobedient anymore? You big bad guy! You super bad guy! As soon as I get my magic back, I'll definitely punish you every day. I'll turn you into the ugliest rabbit in the world, and make you do silly things, wah!" Before she could finish speaking, another smack landed on her bottom, causing her to cry even louder, "It hurts so much. Big sis, save me." Little Tian's crying could probably be heard from a kilometer away. Shura hurriedly ran in, and saw that she was laid across Ling Chen's legs, with a waterfall of tears running down her face. As soon as she saw Shura, she began to cry even harder, "Big sis, save me, big sis, big bad guy is hitting me, woo, it hurts so much, woo, big sis save me." Shura had no idea what had happened, and sympathetically came over, "Big brother, Tian, she can be a bit cheeky sometimes, but she's still a child. If she's a child then she should be obedient." Shura's attempt to calm him down had not worked, and another smack landed on Tian's bottom. "Wah! It hurts, it really hurts, woo." Tian's tears continued to flow, creating a large wet patch on the bed. However, Ling Chen showed no mercy, and his hand flew down again. He was careful to control his strength so that she would learn a lesson, but would not suffer any injuries. "Big bad guy. I definitely won't forgive you, woo. I definitely won't listen to you. I'm going to turn you into a grasshopper, a mouse, woo. Big sis save me, my bottom hurts." Although it really hurt, the little brat was very strong-willed. Every time she retaliated, Ling Chen would give her another smack without mercy. Every time, Tian would cry louder and louder. Her only savior, Shura, could do nothing but stand by and watch, occasionally pleading with Ling Chen to stop. Although her heart was breaking, she knew that this was for Tian's own good, so she could only watch. "Woo, it hurts, don't smack me anymore, don't smack my bottom, woo." After being hit 10 or so times, Tian finally gave in and begged Ling Chen to stop. Ling Chen temporarily stopped, and asked, "So you know you're in the wrong?" "Woo. I was in the wrong. I was being bad. I won't be like this anymore, so don't smack me anymore." Although the little Tian didn't know what she did wrong, she didn't dare to retaliate anymore, instead giving in. "Big brother," Shura's heart hurt so much that she felt as if she was going to start crying as well. She grabbed Ling Chen's shoulder, asking him to stop. Then what did you do wrong? Ling Chen ominously asked. The little Tian wiped her tears and sniffled. I shouldn't have called you big bad guy, shouldn't have told you to buy me chocolate, shouldn't have cried so loudly, shouldn't. Tian looked and sounded so pitiful that even Ling Chen's heart softened. His anger immediately subsided. Although Tian could be quite a brat at times, she was indeed still a child. She had not caused him to lose the lucky cat on purpose, and now Ling Chen almost felt a bit guilty about spanking her just then. Ling Chen flipped her over and put her into a more comfortable position. Tian cowered, not daring to move. Even Ling Chen could not help but feel sorry for her, and feel bad about spanking her. Tian, did you know, on Earth, kids need to listen to adults. Adults will only like kids who are good and obedient. Otherwise, kids who are bad will be spanked. Tian continued to sniffle, and did not dare to retort. Now, although Tian is a demon queen, Tian isn't able to use any of her magic, so Tian's not a demon queen right now. That means Tian's just a normal kid. If Tian is good and obedient, everyone will like Tian and protect Tian. However, if Tian is bad, not only will Tian be spanked, but maybe your big sis and I will even leave you. Tian stopped crying. What Ling Chen had just said was what had been worrying her this entire time. She peeked at Ling Chen, and said in a small voice, If I always listen to you and big sis, will you all like me and protect me, and not spank me and not leave me? Using his fingers on one hand, Ling Chen snapped the screwdriver in half. Clang! The screwdriver that was more than half as thick as a finger broke cleanly in half. Ruo's lips slightly parted, and Tian forgot all about her crying. Her little mouth also hung wide open. The sound that the screwdriver made when it was snapped in half told her that it was indeed made out of metal. She was clearly very impressed by Ling Chen being able to easily snap a metal screwdriver in half with just his fingers. Tian's gaze moved from Ling Chen's hand to his face. Her look of fear disappeared, and was instead replaced with admiration and awe. So strong. I never knew Earthlings were so strong. Tian was not the only one who was shocked. Although Ruo knew that Ling Chen was very strong, but she had never seen him use his strength before. However, she quickly recovered, and said to Tian, look, Big Brother is really strong, right? No matter what sort of bad guys there are, Big Brother can easily beat them. With Big Brother protecting Tian, no one will dare to bully Tian. Tian meekly nodded. Tian was just a little girl, and had come to Earth all by herself. After she found out that she had lost her magic, she felt very scared and insecure. As such, after meeting Ruo, she decided to cling on to this kind and gentle big sister. What she lacked most, so far away from home, was a sense of security. If they really could protect her, she would be willing to listen to them. She raised her head, and tearily looked at Ruo. I'm still recovering my magic, so I'll be good and listen to you guys. I'll do anything you tell me to. Ling Chen and Ruo both smiled. Seeing her behaving so well, Ling Chen almost regretted putting her through that. However, it turned out that spanking had turned out for the better. Then, can I eat chocolate? Just one piece. Tian slowly extended one finger, her eyes gazing at Ruo and Ling Chen. She was almost like a little kitten begging for food, causing Ling Chen and Ruo's hearts to melt. There was no way for Ling Chen to refuse her this time. Adding on his sense of guilt for punishing her just then, he immediately went into the living room and took out the box of chocolates that he had hidden. He didn't immediately give them to Tian, but instead said, Tian, you can have some if you call me Big Bro. If it was before the spanking, little Tian would have immediately started cursing at him. However, Tian didn't refuse, and meekly called, Big Bro. It wasn't too bad having another little sister. Ling Chen smiled, and put the box in her hand. Little Tian is very good, so you can have some chocolate now. After finally getting the chocolate, Tian swallowed her saliva as she opened the box. She reached out, and picked up the smallest piece. She once again forcefully swallowed her saliva, closed the box, and put it in front of Ling Chen. After all, she said that she would only have one piece. Although she wasn't crying anymore, but most Tian's tears still had not dried, and her eyes were still red from crying. Anyone would feel sympathetic looking at such a sight. Ling Chen opened the box, and put it on Tian's lap. Since Tian has become so well-mannered and behaved, Tian can have all of this. After you finish eating it, Big Brother can buy you some more. Really? Tian hugged the box of chocolates tightly and yelled out with joy. Her teary face already had a smile on it. Indeed, she was just a simple child who would cry and smile easily. Just a box of chocolates could cause her to be so happy. To see so much chocolate all of a sudden, Tian immediately forgot about her hurting bottom. While devouring the chocolates, she peeked at Ling Chen and mumbled, Big bad guy, to be honest, you're not that bad, haha. Ling Chen laughed. Big brother, Shura pulled Ling Chen's hand. Tian said that she wants to play Mystic Moon with us. Should we buy her gear this afternoon? Ling Chen immediately nodded, let's go in the afternoon. This way, Tian won't be lonely when we're playing. She'll definitely enjoy playing Mystic Moon. After finishing lunch, Ling Chen and Shura took Tian out. They walked on either side of Tian, holding her hands. Tian was like a little bird, chirping out question after question. She was filled with curiosity towards everything she saw. This sort of experience caused Ling Chen to feel warm in his heart, and he savored this feeling. He was sure that Shura was feeling the same way as well. Although a third person appeared in their world, it wasn't too bad. 60 years ago, the entire world had abolished the restriction preventing people under 18 years of age entering the gaming world. 50 years ago, the restriction on the playing time of people under 18 was also abolished. As such, they could bring Tian with them into Mystic Moon with no worries. The process for Tian getting her gaming gear went smoothly. Like them, Tian also chose a bracelet. It was a cute, pink bracelet, which suited Tian very much. After receiving her bracelet, Tian pulled Shura and Ling Chen as she ran home, evidently very eager to enter the game. Upon reaching home, little Tian immediately ran into the bedroom, without even waiting for Ling Chen to explain Mystic Moon. Shura smiled and said, I'm going to go into Mystic Moon with Tian. I'll tell her my name and how to contact us. I'm also going to see how Suer's doing. Soon, Shura also entered Mystic Moon. Ling Chen stood silently in the living room for a while, then walked to the balcony, and made a special gesture. Very soon, a person appeared in front of him. Ling Chen calmly said, create an identity called Ling Tian, 10 years old. You know what else to do. The black shadow nodded, and immediately left. Ling Chen suddenly asked, when will we start to deal with the Yan-Huang alliance? Immediately. Good. Ling Chen turned and returned to the living room. He lay on the sofa, and entered Mystic Moon. He appeared in the deserted region where he was previously. Of course, not even any fur from the lucky cat was there, let alone the lucky cat itself. Opening his stats page, Ling Chen looked at his lucky hand skill and grinned. He almost started to maniacally laugh. With the lucky hand, his only problem with money would be being unable to spend it all. If If he could evolve Lucky Hand into true Lucky Hand someday, he would be able to take everything from someone in a single moment. He felt excited just thinking about it. Ha ha ha. Although he had not been able to catch the lucky cat, this sort of outcome still made him delirious with joy. He called out the cloud-stepping mare, and continued to head south. 20 minutes later. Young master, good news. Flame Shadow charged into the meeting hall, jubilant as he reported to Long Tian. Speak. The Dark Knight already completed their mission and found Peter Pan, and brought him over. He's outside right now. Flame Shadow quickly said. Long Tian immediately stood up, and his face darkened. Bring him in. The meeting hall's doors opened, and a person in black, radiating killing intent, brought in a small figure with a face full of fright. Above the small figure's head were two bright words, Peter Pan. You're that. Peter Pan. Long Tian's words were squeezed out from between his teeth. The amount of hatred he felt for this person in front of him was unfathomable. It was because of this person that he, as well as the entire Yan Huang alliance, had lost a significant amount of money and had become the laughingstocks of the world. Peter Pan's entire body started shaking, his face was as white as a piece of paper. Under Long Tian's vengeful gaze, he collapsed onto the floor. He tried to get up, as he despairingly yelled out, Don't kill me. It has nothing to do with me, nothing to do with me, don't kill me. Flame Shadow walked beside Long Tian and said in a low voice, The Dark Knight has found out this Peter Pan's real life identity. They're beside him right now, and forced him to enter the virtual world. Long Tian's face became darker and darker. Peter Pan's fear was written all over his face, actions and speech. This cowardly person had caused his Yan Huang alliance to suffer such humiliation. Flame Shadow spoke in a low voice to Long Tian, the ways of the Dark Knight are truly extraordinary. They found his real person immediately. Only with the threat of death would he speak the truth. It would have been entirely useless if they had only found his game character. After speaking, he stared straight at Peter Pan and said in a neutral tone, Peter Pan, we have known from the beginning that you were forced to do this and that it was not your fault. You only need to honestly tell us who made you do this and we will let you go. If telling us this information puts you at risk of death, then we can even protect you, we can take you in. My Yan Huang alliance always follows through with what has been said, so do not be afraid, just tell us what we want to know. Upon hearing words like this, Peter Pan's complexion was slightly restored and he nodded repeatedly, I'll talk. I'll tell you everything. Don't kill me, please don't kill me. The cold sweat on Peter Pan's forehead was rushing down like a waterfall. He raised his hand to wipe off the sweat and cowered as he spoke, the one who made me do this is my boss. It really wasn't me, even if I had that much courage. Your boss? Who is your boss? Long Tian interrupted with a gloomy face. Long Tian's approach made Peter Pan shirk away and he exclaimed with fear, Gu Tian. My boss is called Gu Tian. It was him who gave me 2 guild creation tokens on that day, the day of the auction, at the guild registration location, and told me to wait for his signal. When he signaled, I would immediately create the guild that he told me to. I really was forced. Gu Tian. Skyfall. Long Tian and Flame Shadow's faces dropped at the same time. Flame Shadow leaned over and said in a low voice, Young master, up till today, they had been greatly suspicious of the Skyfall dynasty, because of the ones capable of attaining 2 guild creation tokens, only few of them had the guts to insult the Yan Huang alliance. However, whilst the Skyfall dynasty have had unceasing secret conflicts with the Yan Huang alliance, clear outward conflicts were rare. Moreover, Skyfall also had great respect for Long Tian and did not have a reason to do this kind of thing. Furthermore, they were fighting to be the first guild, so if they got the guild creation token, why would they not have just immediately used it to create their guild? Internally furious, Long Tianyun tried hard to maintain his calm demeanor before suddenly sneering, "Bullshit. Huh, facing imminent death and you still dare to mess with me. Gu Tiannan and I were fighting tooth and nail for that guild creation token." Everyone saw it. He was dreaming of being the first guild to be created, and if 2 guild creation tokens were his, he would have created his guild the first moment he could. Moreover, Gu Tiannan was a very calm person, he would not do something rash like this. "You want to frame the leader of the Skyfall dynasty and cause conflicts and suspicions between us. Huh, it really is a good plan, but do you take me as a fool? I think you aren't afraid unless you actually see your coffin." "No. No. I'm not lying. Everything I've said is true." Peter Pan shook his head furiously. "It was really my boss that made me do this. You dare continue playing? I'm really not lying, you have to believe me." Peter Pan's pupils dilated in seeing his panicked state. It really was very hard to believe that he was lying. Long Tianyun had already believed him and he felt like he was going to explode in annoyance, but he was careful in nature and would not easily trust before drawing conclusions. At this time, Peter Pan thought of something and stretched out his left hand. "Yes, evidence. I have evidence. Alliance Master Long, I have proof to prove I am not lying." "What kind of proof?" Long Tianyun's eyes narrowed. Peter Pan breathed heavily and fumbled with his bracelet. After some time and some shuffling, some voices came out of the bracelet. "Ha ha ha. Refreshing. It's been so long since I've felt this refreshed." Long Tianyun's expression seeing Peter Pan's work. "It looks like he had eaten a shit, ha ha ha. Hey, big brother, your acting is really good. You have the same head of sweat that Long Tianyun had when contending for the guild creation token, even I almost think that you wanted to get the guild creation token, ha ha ha. TCH, what kind of person is Big Brother, playing Long Tianyun like he was playing his own son, ha ha ha." Long Tianyun's expression changed, turning green, because these 3 voices. They clearly belonged to the 3rd kings of Skyfall dynasty, Skyfall, against the sky and judging sky. Before, it was also the Yen Huang alliance causing problems. This is really a fresh breath of air. Peter Pan, this is a great thing you have done. Relax, it couldn't have been done without you. But remember this. Only the 4 of us will know of this affair. Even if your dear mother were to return from the grave, you cannot tell her. Otherwise, boss, please relax. Even if I die, I will protect this secret." This was the voice of Peter Pan, trembling. "Huh, good. Of course I believe in you, otherwise I would not have entrusted you with such a task. Come, sit and drink some tea. Today you will be rewarded well." Thank you my 3 bosses, Big Brother, I gotta say you really had amazing foresight this time. When you and Long Tianyun were up to 900 million gold, even I was sweating. How did you know 900 million gold would not beat Long Tianyun? Long Tianyun regards prestige and honor more highly than life itself, so he would not have allowed the reputation of the first guild to fall into someone else's hand. Therefore, unless it reached 1 billion, he would absolutely never let go. If we got the guild creation token and became the first guild, who knows what he would resort to for it. Overall our strength is inferior to that of the Yen Huang alliance, so I didn't want to fight them to the bitter end. So after getting the guild creation token, I was hesitant to use it, and it was only until I got the second one that I thought of a way to dump on Long Tianyun and the whole of the Yen Huang alliance. And after the token had been auctioned away, no matter how much Long Tianyun deliberated, he would never suspect it was us. No, only did we get 1 billion gold, they weren't even able to get the first guild status after everyone had watched them get the guild creation token. A truly refreshing feeling. This was only the beginning. Tomorrow, when Ling Tian takes back Long Tianyun's guild creation token during the fight, making Long Tianyun's scolding be in vain, even his fame would be thoroughly discredited. We will then cancel that guild and use the guild creation token to set up the first guild. When the time comes, the Yan Huang alliance will be badly hit, with all the blame falling on Peter Pan and Ling Tian. Perhaps they'll even think everything was Ling Tian's doing, so they won't have the time to contest us for being the first guild. After we've settled down, they will then look to us, but it wouldn't be so easy by then, and at that time, in Mystic Moon, our Skyfall Dynasty name will forever step on the head of the Yan Huang alliance. Ha ha ha. But big brother, will Ling Tian actually beat the Sword Emperor? Relax, it's certain. I never do things I don't have confidence in. Moreover, I have already paid him a large sum of money. That money can't just be spent on anything. Right now, let's just wait for tomorrow afternoon. The end was just three people in maniacal laughter. The forehead of Flame Shadow was sweating, Long Tianyun's complexion was black as coal, his shaking fists revealed his anger. He stretched out a finger, pointing at Peter Pan, "Bring me your bracelet." Flame Shadow quickly moved forward, taking the bracelet from Peter Pan, looking for the recording. The time of recording was exactly the day that the auction had occurred. "Young master, there is something else." The news that was just obtained, looking at how furious Long Tianyun was, Flame Shadow chose his words carefully, that day, when Ling Tian escaped from the plains. Although they have hidden him well, it can be determined that he is among the ranks of the Skyfall dynasty. Bang! Long Tianyun angrily threw the bracelet onto the ground. It cracked completely as he stood, breathing heavily, both hands stretched out. Skyfall. Skyfall Dynasty, this time, either you die or I die. In the real world, sound recordings could be synthesized, everything could be tampered with. But in Mystic Moon, under the rules, regardless of whether it be time, length or content, players did not have a way to tamper with recordings, let alone manufacture them. The sounds that were heard were indeed Skyfall, against the sky and judging sky. This could not be wrong. So this recording was completely solid proof. From the auction to the fight with the Sword Emperor, it turned out everything was completely orchestrated. And he, Long Tianyun, was like a puppet controlled by strings. He had been played like a dog. Alliance. Alliance Master Long, I have said everything, let me go, let my one cheap life go. The big boss has already decided to cancel the guild I created in 2 days' time. He'll then create the first guild, and at that time, I will definitely be killed. So now, I have tried to run away. I definitely will not tell anyone about what happened today. I beg you to let me go. Peter Pan fell down cowering on the ground. Flame Shadow glanced at Peter Pan and said in a low voice, "Young master, this person, what do I do with him?" Long Tianyun stared at him. The anger that he was releasing in this moment could make anybody fearful and apprehensive. He took a long breath, his vision focused on the black figure behind Peter Pan. Then, constraining his anger, he calmly said, "The ability of the Dark Knight does not disappoint. The remaining fees will be paid within the hour. Moreover, I would like to see this fellow in front of us in person. Or, you could tell me where he is, and we can get him ourselves. The price will increase by 50 million, the dark-figured person said coolly. A price increase? Long Tianyun wrinkled his brow. The Dark Knight never does anything for free. The dark figure's tone was still icy and it was unpleasant to hear its hoarseness. Obviously, this was not his real voice. The caution of the Dark Knight could be seen here. 50 million, that's ruthless, Long Tianyun said in a low voice. 50 million and only to ask for a location? It wasn't just any kind of ruthless. Your Yan Huang alliance can afford it. You, young master, Flame Shadow hurriedly opened his mouth, then using a softer voice so that only Long Tianyun could hear him, this Peter Pan is but a pawn and does not have any value. We have no reason to spend so much on him. For now, let him cancel that guild, then, let a member of the Dark Knight eliminate him. Ding, announcing to Chinese server. The guild that was first created under the name, below is the Yan Huang Alliance created by a dog, has been disbanded. The guild rankings are once again vacant and will be temporarily closed. The next guild that is created will be ranked as the first. May every player continue to work hard. Ding, announcement to Chinese server. The first guild that had let Yan Huang Alliance be completely humiliated and cause discussions among the players a few days ago had suddenly been disbanded. The guild rankings were once again empty. Immediately, all kinds of discussions started once again, making the peaceful place feel chaotic. It must be the Yan Huang Alliance. They found Peter Pan and forced him to disband it. Whatever consequence Peter Pan must have faced is probably pitiful. But if he dared to humiliate the Yan Huang Alliance like this, he must have known what he was getting himself into. Who do you think the next first guild will be? The guild creation token that was won by the Yan Huang Alliance has been taken by Ling Tian. Do you think he will use it himself or sell it to the highest bidder? Now that the guild rankings are vacant, the guild creation token Ling Tian can once again be sold at a high auction price. He's definitely going to sell it. Ling Tian will always work alone. If he dares to establish a guild, then the Yan Huang Alliance will be the first to destroy it. It's already over. I was really hoping that name would stay on that list for at least a few more days, Skyfall said disappointingly, casually lying on the ground unaware that he had been set up. But this is also good. This kind of cheap trick can't last very long. However, I do really want to get to know this Peter Pan person, or whoever it was behind him. To know what they hold as sacred, what was giving them so much courage to do this. Now there is a vacancy in the guild rankings, so attaining a guild creation token is a matter of urgency. But the only guild creation that is known to exist is on Ling Chen. Big brother, we are already looking very hard for him, Against the Sky said. Who knows, Ling Tian might auction off the guild creation token. Otherwise, if he dares establish a guild, he will encounter the Yan Huang Alliance who will ultimately destroy it, Judging Sky noted as he nodded. The three kings of the guild spoke with confidence, not knowing the evil reputation that had now been put on their heads. Alliance Master Long, I have already disbanded the guild. You said before, as long as I honestly told you everything, you will let me go. Peter Pan didn't have the guts to even stand up and he spoke carefully and meticulously thinking of his words. Young master? Flame Shadow inquired as he looked at Long Tianyun. Long Tianyun shot the person behind Peter Pan a look, and said, this person has been delivered as per our prior agreement. Moreover, I have another task I will hand over to you. I hope you can help me with it. I refuse, not even waiting for Long Tianyun to finish speaking. The black figure said in his ice-cold voice. Why? Long Tianyun's facial expression sank. I, as part of the Dark Knight, will never continually engage in someone's business over such a short time period. Goodbye. The black figure didn't waste time with useless words. He didn't give Long Tianyun a second glance as he pulled Peter Pan, who had been slumped onto the ground, to his feet and started dragging him out towards the door. Young master, do you want me to? No. Long Tianyun raised his hand, staring at the black figure as he left, and finally let out a snicker. Although the Dark Knight is crazy, we have no need to engage in conflict with them. But in regards to the Skyfall dynasty, standing near Long Tianyun, Flame Shadow could feel the anger emanating from Long Tianyun. After so many years, it was the first time he had been this angry. Before, he had hated Ling Tian. But now, his hatred for the Skyfall dynasty had surpassed what he felt toward Ling Tian. Because of this situation, his relationship with Skyfall dynasty was now long dead. Flame Shadow's innermost feelings were similarly furious. This Skyfall dynasty not only played Long Tianyun, but the entire Yan Huang alliance. If not for the Dark Knight, they would be unable to find who actually did this. Young Master, we already know that the current guild creation token is with Ling Tian, and given the current situation, the possibility of it falling into the hands of the Skyfall dynasty is very real. The previous guild has been disbanded, and if Skyfall dynasty immediately uses the guild creation token, they will become the new, first guild. Long Tian Yun's expression was clouded and he pondered for a while, before saying in a low voice, "No. If they made Peter Pan disband the guild then eliminated the potential informant, they can confidently use the guild creation token, without worrying that we suspect them. But now, Peter Pan had disbanded the guild under conditions that they did not know about, so they will definitely feel there is some kind of problem, worrying that everything has been exposed. In this kind of state, they would not have the guts to use the guild creation token. Who knows, perhaps they might even give it to Ling Tian as a big favor because he needs it to create Yunmeng Xian's heart's dream." Flame Shadow thought about it for a while, and quickly said, "Young Master is wise. In the north residence area of Azure Dragon City is the Heart's Dream Hut." "Huh? Big brother Ling Tian still hasn't arrived? He told us to gather here, what's the matter?" Under the summons of Ling Chen, Yunmeng Xian, Shao Qi, Su Er, Mu Bingyao, all the girls of Heart's Dream had gathered, but Ling Chen was nowhere to be seen. Yunmeng Xian's hands were holding onto a giant amount of funds. This was enough for buy a bigger house for Heart's Dream, but she had not done this yet. The girls also had no intention of changing the place. Although this place was small, it was convenient. Big Brother says that he will be here immediately and he wants to give everyone a big surprise. It could be a shock, Shui Ruo said mysteriously, at the same time giving clear instructions to little Tian who newly entered the novice village. From little Tian's reactions, she could hear that she was very excited when playing, and very happy. When Shui Ruo finished speaking, the pleasant surprise and shock immediately came. Ding! Chinese server announcement. Player Ling Tian in Azure Dragon City has registered to establish a guild, Heart's Dream. The guild rankings have opened. Heart's Dream is ranked first in the guild rankings. Because Heart's Dream is not the first guild, no further rewards have been awarded. Ding! Chinese server announcement. Ding! Chinese server announcement. The Chinese guild rankings. Order according to time the guild was established. First, Heart's Dream, founder, Ling Tian. There were 3 prompting sounds, signaling a new name and a lone appearance in the guild rankings. At this time, the disbanding of the first guild was only 30 minutes ago. The previous guild was clearly for the sake of humiliation, but this Heart's Dream was the first guild in a true sense. This guild did not even belong to the Yan Huang Alliance or Skyfall Dynasty, but instead to the most prosperous of the area, Ling Tian. So as a result, the guild's appearance brought about immediate controversy. First-ranking guild turned out to be created by Ling Tian. Could it be that Ling Tian is going to destroy the status quo in the Chinese server? The highest level, the highest fame, the first in terms of equipment, the top-ranking pets, now he has the first guild. My God, he has the entire first list. He must be from the heavens. There's no one who does not know of Ling Tian's fame. If he creates the first guild, as long as he makes a rallying call, innumerable players will rush to join him. In future, it might even be on the same footing as the Yan Huang Alliance. Perhaps even surpassing them. The first guild of the past was always the Yan Huang Alliance, but this time it's actually been robbed by Ling Tian. Now the Yan Huang Alliance has issued a kill-on-sight order for Ling Tian, and Ling Tian only entered the world not too long ago. He doesn't have that much influence and now he unexpectedly steps before the Yan Huang Alliance. The Yan Huang Alliance will surely wipe out Heart's Dream before it can develop. Why did Ling Tian create a guild called Heart's Dream? Seems like it would be a guild more suitable for a girl's guild. The name Heart's Dream came into the conversation of the players and entered the sight of all the players. The first guild was founded by the infamous Ling Tian, and the popularity reached an incomparable height in an instant. Innumerable players were discussing and looking for it. Some of the other players were also worrying about Heart's Dream's destiny. After all, firstly, the Yan Huang alliance would never allow another to dominate it, and secondly, Ling Tian and Yan Huang alliance have had a big falling out. Azure Dragon City, Heart's Dream House. The sound ringing out startled all the girls sitting there except for Mu Bingyao. They sat by the table, unable to help but confirm repeatedly that what just happened was real. He really used that guild creation token, Yun Meng Xian spoke in shock. Being the first guild was indeed awe-inspiring. In addition, with Ling Tian's name, there wasn't a single person in all of the Chinese server who didn't know the Heart's Dream name now. This fame was completely unimaginable. But behind this first guild honor was also a great danger, one of which was the Yan Huang alliance. Everyone knew that the guild creation token used to create Heart's Dream was taken directly from Long Tianyun's hand, so there were innumerable reasons why the Yan Huang alliance could not permit the existence of Heart's Dream. Even Long Tianyun knew that this guild actually belonged to Yun Meng Xian. Good heavens, the first guild, the first guild. Su'er, big sister Meng Xian, our Heart's Dream has officially become the first guild. Shao Qi was not aware of the imminent danger like Yun Meng Xian. Her mouth was wide open and her pupils dilated. There was only excitement. Guess we'll just wait and see, this Ling Tian always seems to be full of surprises. If I only just met this person, I would think he is an idiot. But the one who managed to defeat Long Tianyun over and over again, would he do things with no regard for consequence? I'm sure Long Tianyun has also considered these things, so he won't be too hasty to make a move on Heart's Dream. Instead, Shao Qiufeng was midway through his sentence, when a piece of news reached his ears. He then laughed coldly. I see. Heart's Dream's small house. Ling Chen came in seemingly high-spirited. Once he entered, the 5 girls immediately surrounded him, and with a grin he gloated, "Did you get my big surprise? Haha, today is the big creation day for Heart's Dream. All you beautiful ladies can now cheer heartily, and celebrate this day which will never be forgotten. How about we go to Azure Dragon City's best restaurant to get a big meal?" After he finished speaking, he was met with silence. Shao Qi was going to cheer, but upon seeing Yun Meng Xian's expression, she kept it in, not speaking a word. Ling Chen's brow immediately dropped, and weakly said, "No way, today Heart's Dream was created, and it's the top-ranked guild in the entire Chinese server, and this is your response. AI. Yun Meng Xian sighed, she raised her head and said, "You're right in saying that we should celebrate the establishment of Heart's Dream. We did not dare to even dream of becoming the first guild, but, there are no buts. Ling Chen stretched out his hand about 10 centimeters from Yun Meng Xian's lips, causing her eyes to quiver. He then smiled, and said slowly without a care in the world, "You only need to believe in me." Yun Meng Xian, Shao Qi, Su'er, Mu Bingyao, Shui Rua. After Ling Chen said that, the whole room lapsed into complete silence. The girls all knew what Yun Meng Xian was worried about, and also knew that behind the honor of being the first guild, there is also a huge crisis that would be faced. They also thought that after Ling Chen returned, he would explain everything. But he didn't, and only said this one line. "You only need to believe in me." This one sentence, mysteriously, burrowed into their hearts. Meng Xian, Ling Chen said softly, "The first time I met Yun Feng, he told me that your personality is your strength, but your older brother wishes that you did not have this strength. He hopes that you will learn to depend on others, and not just try to chase all your goals on your own, taking all burdens with your own shoulders. You are a girl, and girls should learn to rely on the boys around them. They could be family, they could be friends, or even colleagues, or perhaps even your Mr. Right. Do you not know that a man's existence is for a woman to depend on? You are so intelligent, so you wouldn't neglect this point, would you? Right now, I am your colleague, and your friend, so if you believe in me, why not choose to give me the burden that you are shouldering? That way, you can go and fulfill your other dreams, or do things that a girl is supposed to do. Don't think or worry too much. Your big brother Yunfeng's biggest hope is that you can live happily, and I also hope that this hope of his can be fulfilled. Meng Xian, this is your guild, which is also the carrier of your dreams, and by your big brother's request, I am to help you carry out this dream. This is also my biggest purpose for entering the virtual world. So, Meng Xian, don't be too anxious, just believe in me. He didn't explain why he established Heart's Dream in that moment, but what he did say dissolved their worries and anxieties, warming their hearts. Big brother Ling Tian, thank you so much for what you just said. Xiaoqi's eyes glittered. From the first day meeting him, she always had that look of adoration in her eyes. Today, this gaze also contained many other things. Su'er bit her lips gently. Since Ling Tian's entrance, she had been quietly watching him, her gaze never leaving his body. When facing him, she was not as shy as before. At this time, she felt her heart beat faster, and quietly, her heart was saying, "How can you be so good?" What do I do?" Shui Ruo's eyes twinkled, and stood by Ling Chen's side, holding his hand. "I support what my brother says, big sister Meng Xian, you are so kind and warm-hearted, your dream will definitely be realized." "Wait, right now, it is our dream." Mu Bingyao looked away from Ling Chen, with a complicated look in her eyes, then said, "Meng Xian, we are your partners." Meng Xian's eyes were moist and she was unable to speak. All of her heart's worries and anxieties all vanished without a trace because of all these words of encouragement, and her eyes were occupied with this male figure before her. He was ranked first, had incomparable strength, killed the Flame Emperor, was able to defeat the Sword Emperor as well as kill the Alliance Master of the Yan Huang Alliance twice despite being surrounded by thousands of people. He, a single person, could put the Yan Huang Alliance to shame, and could still live free and unrestrained despite being hunted by the Yan Huang Alliance. This kind of person only appeared in legends, but in the world of Mystic Moon, he was always near her. It was like he entered this world for her sake. Without him, she would never be able to make Heart's Dream the #1 guild, and definitely would not be able to gain a fortune that a normal person could never amass in their entire lives. This man was one who was strong and filled everyone with hope. It was him who made her want to rely on a man for the first time. Growing up in the Yun family, from young, her life was never in her own hands. She was just a weak, young girl of small stature, and with so little strength, she could only rely on herself. Hearing Ling Chen's words, her mind spun, and something seemed to well up inside her heart. After so long, she finally let out a weak sound. "Ling Tian, thank you, why would I ever not believe you? So, the only thing that matters is that we are Heart's Dream, the number guild, and the only guild. No matter how big the other guilds are, they will always be under our foot. You don't need to worry about anything else. Even if the sky falls down, Heart's Dream has a man who can hold it up." Ling Chen patted his own chest, feeling that what he said was sensational, but in his heart, he truly wanted to carry the entire Heart's Dream by himself. This was what he had promised Yunfeng, and he definitely wouldn't go back on his word. Yes, yes. Our Heart's Dream is China's first guild, what an honor. After so many years, this is truly unique. It's the second time the first guild has been snatched from the Yan Huang Alliance. Perhaps, even after a long time, people will still remember the name of Heart's Dream. Xiaoqi beamed, her face like a flower. To be able to join Heart's Dream already makes me happy, and to be able to meet big brother Ling Tian also makes me so happy, hehe. Shui Ruo saw the way Xiaoqi was gazing at Ling Chen and secretly smiled. The way I look at big brother should be something similar to that. And Su, her gaze is particularly special. Big brother, do you not know, the aura you have right now, and after doing so many things, how much danger you are to the females around you. Well then, everyone should join. Ling Chen pulled up the guild panel, and sent invitations to everyone. Ding, player Meng Yu Xian has joined. Ding, player Cute Chi Chi has joined. Ding, player Su Su has joined. Ding, player Mu Bing Yao has joined. Ding, player Ruo Yen Chen has joined. Heart's dream immediately reached 6 people. The girls broke out in joyous laughter. Today was a day to remember. Because today was the true beginning of Heart's dream, an incredibly prestigious beginning. Ha ha ha. Ling Chen started laughing loudly. This isn't strange at all. I would feel strange if Long Tianyun didn't give this order. However, this won't have much of an effect on us. But, because of this, no one will be willing to join our Heart's dream. This means we won't be able to develop. Xiao Qi anxiously said. Why do we need other people to join? Ling Chen asked. All of the girls were shocked by this question, and stood there in silence. Didn't guilds need more people in order to become stronger? Moreover, wasn't the whole point of having the first guild creation token to attract players to join? We are enough for Heart's dream. Our goal is to help Meng Xian. If strangers joined, would their goal be the same as ours? Additionally, if too many people join, Heart's dream may not even totally belong to us anymore. Ling Chen looked at them earnestly. Also, none of us have any experience in creating and managing a large-scale guild. If Heart's dream was suddenly inundated with a large wave of players, would any of you know how to manage all of them? What if some of them were spies sent in from other guilds? All of the girls fell silent. In all honesty, the 6 of us are enough. Ling Chen said as he smiled. From the beginning, it was never his intention to develop Heart's dream into a large guild. This was completely unnecessary. To him, it wouldn't be very difficult to fulfill Yun Meng Xian's dream, so there was no point making things so complicated. But, in that case, Xiao Qi was still worried, but after some thought, she smiled. Never mind. I believe that big brother Ling Tian knows what he's talking about. Although it's only 6 of us, but it's also nice and cozy like this. Su'er nodded. To be honest, I like it like this. I believe everything that big brother Ling Tian said. Of course, Mu Bingyao and Shui Ruo did not have any objections. They all looked towards Yun Meng Xian. After all, the whole point for the existence of Heart's dream was for her. Seeing the looks in their eyes, Yun Meng Xian laughed. Today is the first day our Heart's dream was officially established. We should go out and have a big meal. Let's go. Yay! Let's go, let's go. I want to eat all the yummy things I've been waiting to eat. We're in a game anyways, so we won't get fat. Su Su? Su Su? Are you alright? You looked so lost in thought. No, nothing. Were you still thinking about that incident? Don't worry, my dad already ordered security to be doubled, so everything will be fine. Let's go, let's go. Big brother Ling Tian, we're all girls, so as the only man you have to treat us. Ling Chen. Today was the first day that Heart's dream had been officially established. The 6 people put down all of the worries, and had an incredibly relaxed and happy afternoon together. No one knew what would come in future. Right now, they just purely wanted to use Heart's dream to fulfill Meng Xian's wish so that she could have true freedom. None of them knew what this beginning signified, none of them knew what sort of cruel joke fate would play on them, none of them knew how tumultuous Heart's dream's future would be, none of them knew how much joy and sorrow Heart's dream would bring, none of them knew that this man that all of these girls were relying on would one day create such a miracle. This was a beginning that none of them would ever forget. Although Heart's dream was a tiny guild, it was still not easy to fully establish it. For example, territory was a very important matter. They only had 6 people, 7, when Tian joined. With such low numbers, it would be impossible to obtain and hold a large territory. As such, their small building was enough for now. It was just that the small building's defense was very, very poor. After the 1-month protection period elapsed, it would not be able to protect the guild members from attacks. As such, the all-important guild sign had to be kept somewhere safe. Ling Chen left all of this for Yun Meng Xian to organize as she wished. The Heart's Dream Guild members enjoyed their time together until night time. When Ling Chen and Shui Ruo logged off, it was already 7 p.m. They did not feel hungry at all within the game, but as soon as they woke up in the real world, the hunger hit them immediately. Ling Chen got up from the sofa, and walked into the bedroom. Shui Ruo got up from the bed, while Tian remained lying on the bed, still in the game. Shui Ruo motioned for Ling Chen to be quiet. "Big brother, let's go make dinner, then wake her up when it's ready. She looks so happy right now, so I don't want to pull her away just yet. Also, when we logged off, Tian told me she's nearly LV2. Oh, that's not too slow," Ling Chen said. "At this rate, she should be able to leave Novice Village in about 10 or so days." Presently, the Novice Village was not as crowded as it had first been when the game had opened. As such, leveling up did not take as long due to there being more resources for everyone. Yeah, so soon our Heart's Dream will have a new little member. By the way, big brother, how are you going to develop Heart's Dream? Shui Ruo curiously asked. Ling Chen shook his head. To be honest, Heart's Dream doesn't need developing or expanding. What we have is already enough. Shui Ruo blinked, waiting for Ling Chen to explain. The bet between Meng Xian and her dad was that she would gather wealth and reputation to match that of the entire Yun families within 2 years. Heart's Dream's fame has now already surpassed the Yun families. Of course, reputation doesn't just take into account being known, but also status and acknowledgement from the community. Now that Heart's Dream has its official establishment as its foundation, its reputation will definitely skyrocket over time. As for fortune, this is even less of a problem. Ling Chen casually said. To him, money was something that could be easily gained now. Shui Ruo smiled as she nodded. I believe you, big brother. Then, big brother, let's go make dinner. When Tian logs off later, she'll definitely say she's starving. Alrighty. Ling Chen held Shui Ruo's small hands. Her hands were so small and soft that he couldn't resist picking her up and hugging her. Ah, big brother, taken off guard, Shui Ruo put her arms around Ling Chen's neck. Ling Chen carried Shui Ruo out of the bedroom, and put her on the sofa. He gently pressed himself against her, with an evil smile on his face. Before making dinner, I want to first taste my Ruo. After Shui Ruo's body had recovered, Ling Chen didn't need to hold himself back anymore. However, with Tian around, he was unable to make a move most of the time. Now that Tian was in the game, he couldn't resist, and began to pry off Shui Ruo's clothes. But Tian's in the other room. If she suddenly, Shui Ruo didn't resist, her voice becoming more and more flustered. It's okay, she likes playing so much, so if we don't call her, she won't come out for a while. Ling Chen flung Shui Ruo's clothes aside, then took her bra off. Immediately 2 round, snow rabbits jumped out. A sweet fragrance filled the air as Ling Chen's hands traveled downwards to Shui Ruo's skirt. He pulled them down, revealing a pair of beautiful, white legs. Ling Chen's hands grasped Shui Ruo's breasts and started to feel them gently. Shui Ruo gasped, and embarrassedly closed her eyes. After a short while, her body started writhing in ecstasy from Ling Chen's hands. Ling Chen's breathing became heavier and heavier. He kissed Shui Ruo's tender lips, and their tongues intertwined. He began to alternate between feeling Shui Ruo's breasts and taking both of their clothes off. Shui Ruo's moans became louder and louder, as her face became redder and redder. Ling Chen held her hips as he gently eased himself into her, becoming one with Shui Ruo. At this moment, Shui Ruo let out a cry of pure pleasure. After a while, it had become completely dark outside. Inside the living room, the sounds from Ling Chen and Shui Ruo had not ceased. They were both panting and moaning heavily. Shui Ruo gazed at Ling Chen with deep longing in her eyes as she wrapped her legs around his waist. Shui Ruo's body shook as Ling Chen thrust into her again and again. Her red lips parted, letting out gentle moans, making her sound like a little kitten. Her entire body felt as if it was aflame, and her skin all over her body had a healthy red glow to it. Note from the author: what do you think will happen next? Congratulations, you've guessed correctly.